practically every one of the top 40 records being played on every radio station in the United States is a communication to the children to take a trip, to cop out, to groove. The psychedelic jackets on the record albums have their own hidden.
This is a special question. We don't want you to smoke genetically modified ganja. We want you to smoke the real thing. We want you to smoke the natural herb. Some call it marijuana, some call it sensimedia, some call it lamb's bread, and some people call it ganja.
Welcome to another edition of the Adam Dunn Show. I am your host, Adam Dunn, and I am still in Miami. Man, how many Miami shows is that? That's like 7 or
26.
Seems like a lot.
26 Miami shows, and I'm still in my cave.
Exactly. Still trapped. But on these trips, I get to hang out with lots of cool people, so that makes it interesting, and I don't have to hope that they're going to arrive into Denver. So we came here to Miami, and last trip, I think it was last trip or the trip before, I got a chance to meet the amazing Peter Tunney here through our buddy Chaz from London Police. So hence the crossover there. Anybody who knows me knows I've had a bunch of galleries in the past, and I've always been into the whole art scene as far as street art and kind of the people that are living the life just like we do. We live the life of cannabis. Once you're involved in this kind of stuff, it takes over your life. This will be the quietest you'll hear Peter the entire time, because I'm sure this is going to become the Peter Tunney Show.
Entire life.
His entire life. He's holding back right now. He's like, God damn it, this guy talks a lot. So,
yeah, well, you just interrupted our bromance we had going on.
I know.
I have a bromance.
I knew that was going to happen anyway. I knew that. But we have a lot to talk about. And the thing is that Peter, it doesn't matter what subject, he's got something amazing to talk about. And, with cannabis people, we're all pretty loosey-goosey. We don't mind. As long as it's plant-related, we'll be happy. And this guy is an amazing guy. So welcome to the show.
Welcome.
As you see some of the art behind us, this is from his Redacted series that he did. Was this the most recent one or second?
Redacted was my show for this year's Art Positive. It was called Redacted.
Gotcha. And coincidentally enough, it kind of has a Adam Dunn Show flag vibe to it, right? With all the redacted information. I was right.
This piece is particularly
Mark, turn up your volume.
To me, particularly funny to me because a lot of my redacted things, I redacted everything out except it said the time is always now, right? The rest was redacted. And but this one is blah 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 redacted, which is like redundantly redacted.
Exactly.
That's some knock. So of course that's the one Alex.
And on top of that, it really goes well with the show, because that's what I'm known for, is a lot of blah blah blah. That's for sure.
No, you don't blah blah blah. You go and you do your sound effect thing, but it's never blah blah blah.
Oh yeah, sound effects. So we also have Chaz, like I was mentioning earlier, from London Police, calling in a little while. I gave him a heads up, so I don't think he's too hammered. He originally said he'd be too hammered to be on the show, but apparently I got him right before that happened. He's in Amsterdam, which is on lockdown, so we'll get a little Amsterdam update from Chaz. We also got Soulfire Gardens calling in at the later in the show in the second half, and we also have James Bean, man on the scene, with all the news. And there's a lot of news because one thing, we won't get too political because otherwise Dave might go off on a tangent, but in general, the big winner this year. We're going to talk about
cannabis politics. We're going to be fine.
This big winner this year was cannabis. My God, can you believe that? We're at that point now where I think we're at that tipping. I've said this before. We're at the tipping point, but I think now we really, really, really are.
Can I read the list?
We're over 30.
Let me read the list.
No, don't even worry. Let James come. Don't steal James' fire.
Don't steal his fire, his thunder.
You had a chance. You had a chance to do your news.
That was it.
You failed miserably. You were the biggest failure in the news world. You pretty much can hang. I know you're not.
Okay, I just set a personal record for being quiet.
Mark, do. Come on, buddy. Get on the sound effects there.
What, for news?
No, he just said that was a record of Peter staying quiet. We have to recognize that.
So I think the first question every New Yorker has to anybody else that they assume is from New York is, and that's right away Dave was like, whoa, where's this guy from? Because even though you've been in Miami and been all over, you're definitely a New Yorker by heart, I can tell.
I'm just a New Yorker, period. That's it. That's the only way I've ever identified.
Right? Flushing,
well, that's lucky because we don't have to. Yeah, we don't have to adjust for anybody. That's one of the things about being from New York, right? You pretty much.
I've never adjusted for anybody ever.
I hardly ever do people from New York change where they're from because they move somewhere. They always stay like that. Whereas anybody else kind of.
It's almost a formula. I won't go into it. It's too banal for this incredible podcast. But there's a certain moment when you become a New Yorker. Mm-hmm. And then it's like a pickle becomes a cucumber.
Adam, can you move the mic closer to Peter?
We're doing this right now. We're doing these right now.
Once you're a cucumber, you become a pickle.
Really?
Yeah. Yes, the mic only works on one.
You're not hearing me?
Oh, okay. So
not very well.
So then let's we'll go back to old school.
Actually, no. Keep the headphones in, but turn the audio, the sound input to the camera. To the microphone. Because if we don't fix it right now, Rosin Dogs is going to freak out.
Definitely want to hear you more than me.
We got to hear.
Oh, yeah. Now you sound much better.
Is that better?
100%,
yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Now the hard part is.
I was just going to say about being a New Yorker that, I love the expression that I was a cucumber, but now I'm a pickle and I'll never be a cucumber again. That happens to people. You could be born in Kansas, then you come to New York when you're 32 years old and you're living hard in New York for 10 years. You then identify as a New Yorker. There's a moment where you can identify as a New Yorker. You could also come from anywhere and from any country, any place, and be in New York for a little while, and you start identifying as a New Yorker. And as long as you stay hard for the rest of your life, then you are a New Yorker.
You know how I think that moment could be? That moment is when you can provide directions to someone to get from somewhere to somewhere on the train. Like you're going to take the 7 to Times Square, then you're going to take the E, F, G uptown, and then you're going to be fine. And you can take the 4, 5, or 6 crosstown, and that's how you get there. That's when you're in New York.
Maybe you're smoking weed in a duct tape basement in the South Bronx and you don't find your way home for 3 days and you figure it out. It's only your first night in New York City, but that's where I took you. And then you make it back to your apartment and throw up. The next day you're a New Yorker.
There you go.
There's that too.
That can happen. Yeah. That could be it.
So I had to go corral the dog corraller on top of it.
Is this how podcast works? You get interrupted, you leave, and you come back. Is that how you guys do it?
Not usually if I can handle it, but, sometimes it just has to go that way.
All right.
So we're all flexible here.
Cool.
So the theme of this show, because I was kind of like, with cannabis, with our cannabis crowd, we have to somehow like weave the storyline. But what I was noticing was, we're in November now. This is supposed to be like Thanksgiving is our big holiday. Nobody gives thanks. Nobody gives. There's like the complete opposite mentality happening. Everybody's getting geared up for.
Don't speak for me, bro.
Well, no, you. That's why when I had you on the show, I was like, well, here's a guy that I know gives. And I know is thankful. But I think that's kind of what we wanted to convey on this show was the idea of sort of paying things forward and using this month to kind of maybe make up for the rest of the year that we seem to forget about it. But
that would be nice.
Yeah. And I think we're all kind of at that point where it seems like everybody's looking for some positive stuff. So we're going to go on the more positive note this week, since there's been so much weirdness out there and people in between limbo zone. But one of the things that we talked about last time, and you were telling me, which I think would really resonate with our crowd, was your Sunny Side campaign that you're doing for
Sunny Center.
Or Sunny Center, sorry.
Sunny Center. Sunny Side is how you get your eggs, bro.
Well, Sunny Side is where I was in Queens. That's where I was from. That's where I'm from. But yeah, the Sunny Side. Tell me a little bit about that, because that's something I think people really would, dig.
Well, and if you're hearing this, you could just follow up. It's worth a little bit of a deep dive. I'll throw out the name for you. Sonny Jacobs and Peter Pringle. Sonny Jacobs was I don't know if she was the first woman, but I know when she was put on death row in Florida, she was the only woman on death row in Florida. They had to build a special death row for her for, I think, killing two state troopers was the charge, she and her husband. They were wrongfully convicted. When you kill a state trooper or any law enforcement officer or anything like that in prison, you get an extra hard time, of course, if that's possible. Sonny Jacobs did, I think, 11 years in solitary and 14 years on death row. Her husband, after they were arrested, she never saw him again. He went to a different facility, and he was executed in the electric chair after 10 years. He was intentionally poorly executed because they believed, or not believed, but because he was convicted of killing a police officer. With something like, you're supposed to put a special kind of sponge in your little electrocution helmet, to really give good conductivity, but they put the wrong kind of sponge in there, a dry sponge. I forget the detail, but so that it wouldn't kill him right away and his head would kind of go on fire, and they had to do it 3 times. It was a really botched execution. He was executed after 10 years. I think they stopped doing the electric chair in that state after that electrocution because of the problems for that. So she never saw him again. They had a wonderful written correspondence during the time they were in prison. The real killer was known the whole time. He took a deal and pointed it towards them or whatever. He was arrested and murdered some other people, I think, during his time out, but eventually went to jail. And so Sonny Jacobs did this time in prison. She had I think her baby was around 1 year old in the back of the car with her when she got arrested. And so as Sonny would say in her own words, she went in as a mother, a wife, and a daughter. And she came out as a widow and an orphan. It's just, what a trip. So Sonny Jacobs, I bow on the altar to Sonny Jacobs. I love Sonny. We have an incredible relationship for a long time now. And when she was out speaking about capital punishment, which she has a really good case to speak out against capital punishment, she met a guy named Peter Pringle. Peter Pringle, I think he did 17 years in some Irish shithole prison. He was a drunk guy walking along. They just picked him up. He got nothing to do with anything. He was just a drunk dude. And he had a rough go of it where they put him. That wasn't a nice trip he had. And so they were out together talking about prison reform and speaking out, and they fell in love. And some friends of mine and I, we hosted their kind of little wedding and sent them on their honeymoon and everything. And what Sonny and Peter have done the entire time I've known them is take people, exonerees, that get out of prison. For example, everything I'll tell you are true stories with names. I may not reveal them all in this podcast, but let's just say you did 29 years in max for a rape and murder that you didn't commit. And now they let you out because the Innocence Project, thank God for the Innocence Project, found DNA evidence that totally exonerated you. By the way, in almost every case you'll ever hear me talk about, if the guy did 29 years and was exonerated through DNA evidence, through the Innocence Project, they've probably been working on his case for 20 fucking years. And they probably have exonerating evidence for 10 or 15 years until they can get him out. Sometimes 5 years. That would be pretty quick. Many times there is exonerating evidence that the prosecutor in the DA's office does not want to give you. Like they have the DNA, but you ask for it, they say, we're not going to give it to you. So then you have to apply, you have to do a motion, you have to do a thing, and you'll probably get it 18 months later while your buddy is rotting in jail. And it also might be that when they finally come to turn it over, they may have lost it. It happens. It's small evidence. So Sonny and Peter, what they do is they take that guy when he's like steps out of jail and gets like $12 in a bus ticket, like in a movie, like the stuff in your envelope you went in with. Now, where's your family and friends for these 29 years? It's pretty much, scattered. I mean, sometimes you don't have anybody left. Sometimes people in your family and friends think you did do the murder, and maybe it's of your sister. I mean, who knows, right, what you're coming out into. Very small percentage of exonerees get money. You hear about a guy getting $2 million, $3 million. That usually takes 2 to 5 years after you get out. you apply for some compensation. It's generally, and it goes state by state, you get like $100,000 a year. But in any event, like 91% of people that get out of prison that are exonerated don't
get $100,000 per year that they were in jail.
Yeah, so like if you're in jail for 20 years and you have a good state and a good case and great lawyers and everything right, and you can blow that, by the way. And I'll get to that. But if you come out of jail and you start to earn money, they'll deny your claims. We just had a guy did 14 years on death row, Clemente Shorty Aguirre, another great friend of mine, amazing spiritual light in our life who did nothing wrong. That's the most amazing story. They just turned him down in Florida again for any money. For killing, by the way, a woman, a mother and grandmother. The woman, I think she was stabbed 135 times or something in the chest, and then the knife was plunged into the grandmother's heart and fell out on it in the wheelchair. He discovered this scene. The sociopathic, psychopath daughter, one's like 30, one's 60, one's 80, whatever. She had confessed to these crimes. Her blood was at the scene. She told someone in a mental institutional lockup that she was in that if she ever gets out, she's going to stab her mother 135 times. She's sticking at her grandmother's heart. I mean, it's so much. Right. She is free today, by the way, and has never done a day in jail. They covered up her evidence, and they put Shorty in jail for 14 years. The nicest Bible-toting guy you will ever meet, by the way, and I can't say that about all of them because I got a lot of there's a lot of half-assed criminals and non-saints, but they did not get accused. They did not get convicted of the crime that they were accused of. So in any event, Sonny and Peter, we decided to make this thing together, inspired them. We call it the Sonny Center. The Sonny Center was Sonny Jacobs and Peter Pringle's tiny little cottage in rural Ireland. We pick the guy up when he gets out of prison, and we send him to Sonny and Peter's house, and I mean immediately. And we found out that immediately is really important. It is, there's no handbook written on this. How do we take care of exonerees? That's the subject. In my opinion, and in the core of every fiber of my body, because this shit really sticks in my fucking throat, I got to tell you. You get hit by a car, your kid gets leukemia, your son overdoses, a lot of bad shit happens in this world. But these cases, these are not typos. This is not like, he really did look exactly like Dave. We picked up, it's almost never, in every case that I've ever known about, it's been prosecutorial misconduct, suppression of evidence, getting rid of evidence.
Yeah, they just want to get to the end.
And so here's the thing. I've thought about this for a long time, for 10 years. Why? Why would this law enforcement detail, why the Central Park Five? You don't have to pick any case. I know the Central Park Five. Why? Why go after those guys? What are you doing? What is the end? What is your end game to get those guys in prison when you have nothing on them and you're conjuring stuff up to get them and you're lying and you're risking your career and the prosecutor is on your side? Why are you doing all that? And I believe today it's just expediency. I'm sure there's racism in there somewhere, but these are more like cases where, hey, listen, we got to get the guy off our back. Let's just close it on Friday so we could go out drinking and get home early or something, just to get it over with. In Shorty's case, Clemente Aguirre, they have absolutely nothing on him. They have all the evidence on the girl. I mean, why not go after the girl? Shorty didn't speak a word of English. He got a court-appointed attorney. He sat in court quietly, had no idea what was happening. And then they told him through translation, you just got the death penalty. And he's like, how could that be? How could that be? The guy's travels in his life, by the way, as I get to know these people, from South America to Florida. It's one of the most harrowing, incredible stories ever, where MS-13 is in his town. They killed his best friend right in front of his house. They put 2 guns to his head. His mother said, you got to get out of this town. They're going to kill you. And he got out of the town. He made his way to Nicaragua, where things got worse. He swam across the Rio Grande. He got to Florida. He met his relative. He got a job as a busboy. So Clemente's out today. So the Sonny Center, you'd go to Sonny and Peter's house, and just like addiction or anything else, you don't really want to hear from Peter Tunney why you should be so grateful after doing 29 years in Max, but you could listen to people that have done 20 years in Max, for sure. I think pretty much those are the only people that have any cred with you. So Sonny and Peter take him in, and God bless these people. That guy lives like it's like a 2-bedroom house that share the wall. That guy's living like right next to them in their personal space. They do that since I've known them around 11 months a year. They have an exoneree living in their house with them. And what they feel and what they know and their experience in this is, for example, I'll just tell you what they do, and these are their solutions. They've figured it out. They have a garden. They have chickens. You pick your own vegetables. You take a walk with the dogs down by the stream. You collect firewood, all this kind of stuff. That's what exonerees do there. And I called Peter one day, and I said, you know, how is this guy doing? He's been there for about 2 weeks. He said, oh, we're still just in the listening phase right now. He's in the anger phase, so we're just listening. That's the therapy. And that has to happen. That guy has to say. I'm almost crying telling you this because it's so hardcore. That guy for 29 years is now in that house with Sonny and Peter, and he's just spilling his guts to them. And there the healing begins. So we've raised money along the way. It's not a subject people are really into, amazingly. I feel like it should be a law that if we find out that you put this guy away on fake evidence and you took 15 years out of his life, and the cases are just unbelievably harrowing. The guy married a girl of his dreams, and they had a home invasion. They beat her to death, raped her, lit her on fire. I mean, just the worst shit ever. They hogtied him and beat the living shit out of him, and the cops came and found him hogtied with footprints on his back and all these injuries. He did 15 years for his wife's murder. She would say, well, how is that possible? Ask him. His name is Barry. And, oh, no, that's the other, it's not Barry. But I met him. He looks like an accountant. He did 15 years. By the way, the woman he was desperately in love with, really a soulmate, light of his life, like married under a year, was murdered brutally in front of his face. And then he does the time for that, and the in-laws might have thought he did it, and the people, what kind of hell is this guy going through? Then you find out that they untied him, they took off the shirt, they never told anyone he was tied up, and all this kind of bullshit. And meanwhile, there's always a double whammy, which is the guilty guy is out there doing more shit. Mm-hmm. So Barry does 14 years in jail, 15 years in jail. You know, it's just, it should be a law, was going to be my point. You got to buy that guy a house and give him $200,000 a year for the rest of his fucking life and say, I'm sorry. Like, you have to take care of that guy. I can't help you with everyone that gets hit and run and drunk driving and disease, but that's not a typo. We did that to him. We did months and years of paperwork and lines to crush this guy. And then we discover that cold, which is very hard, by the way, because they're fighting you. And we have it. And the judge says, yeah, these cops, by the way, there's no DAs going to jail. There's no prosecutors going to jail. There's no cops going to jail for this shit. Rarely. I mean, it's not even worth talking about the amount of cases where they get caught for that. They want to protect their records. They want to have wins. They don't want to give up prosecuted cases, et cetera. They know. It should be a law that we take care of these people. The exonerees at this time during quarantine, I was on the phone with Sonny last week. We were talking about this guy. This is the last one, and that'll slow down on this, but his name is Paul Hildwin. Paul Hildwin did 34 years. 34 years for a crime he did not commit in max. For 33 years, what Paul Hildwin thought about was putting his bare foot into damp green grass because he only lived in concrete and steel. And he got out. I put it on my Instagram the other day. You see him with his bare feet in front of the courthouse stepping in that green grass. And he told me that when he stepped on that grass, he came to life again. The picture on my Instagram, I sent him a gratitude print because he told me he's one of the most grateful people in the world. I was like, dude, come on. I got a beautiful wife, 2 kids. I live on the beach. Nothing about. How do you think you're going to be more grateful than me? Plus, I should be dead about 1,000 times. He said, you know, Peter, you have hundreds of people caring about you, trying to get you out of prison, loving you up, total strangers. And then when you get out, they take care of you and give you a house. So I have that. I'm so grateful, man. My experience with 35 exonerees that I've met, shaken hands with, know their stories. When they get up to the microphone at a fundraising dinner, the first thing they say is, I'm so grateful to be here. Thank you so much to the Innocence Project. They're grateful people. And what they are is masters of quarantine. So I'll end this part with this on Paul Hildwin. Paul Hildwin, I could be wrong a day on the date, but this is how it went down. Paul Hildwin finally got out on like March 9th. We have 4 houses now in Tampa called the Sunny Center. And it's full right now. We have 4 exonerees living in their houses. Friends of mine put in money and bought them these houses. We have someone that manages it. It's a project. And listen, it's a dicey project. It's a difficult population of people to deal with on a daily basis for numerous reasons. By the way, 2 of our exonerees, one just got out of the hospital for like major spine surgery. The other guy got cancer 3 times in prison. That's Paul. He's out. He's healthy. He's barbecuing today probably. So Paul Hildwin, I sent him this gratitude print. There's a picture of him sitting there with that gratitude print behind him in his house. He never had a key to anything. Never opened a door to go to the bathroom for 34 years. And so that's where he's at the Sunny Center. And there's only a few hundred exonerees every year, if that. We should take care of every one of them. So what we're trying to do for the last 10 years, let's say, is like, we're trying to write the handbook on what does the recovery arc look like for an exoneree? What should we do for him? What can't you do? We've learned both ways. What you can't do is like give the guy $1 million and turn him loose into the neighborhood he came from. That's not probably a great idea. It's not a great idea for everybody. Several really powerful exonerees have become lawyers that work for the Innocence Project. All of them that I'm aware of and know of that are still saying there's a lot of people that are really broken, by the way, that I can't reach, that no one can reach, and they will die a miserable death somehow because they are not coming back from the trauma they went through, and I don't blame them. I don't know how they got to here. I don't know how they do it.
Well, I mean, the key is with anybody coming out of a institution. I mean, America's so institutionalized when it comes to school, when it comes to, I mean, we're kind of like groomed for prison from a young age here because we have this whole idea that that's going to make people better for somehow. And one thing we have figured out is that, like in Holland, the difference of people with the jails there were like open door from cell to cell, PlayStation in their fucking cells. I mean, totally different vibe. But, it wasn't like people were running to get into jail. Whereas here, it's almost like the opposite, where people get so institutionalized that they can't survive when they get outside. Like they get out and their lives are twisted.
Okay, so let me jump.
Peter says to me before the show started, we're talking about, me growing up in Flushing and him coming to Flushing. The apartment building on Casina where I lived was, I had to be 15 stories tall, 20 apartments on a floor. It looked like a jail when you were inside. I mean, my whole memory of childhood is getting in a tiny elevator, getting up to a floor where I didn't even know how people got furniture up there. Well,
there's a lot of apartment buildings that today it looks like a Nairobi prison. That's how they build them, right? It's horrible. But don't get me started. I'm going to drop another name on us. So there's a guy. This is a guy who's in jail right now. He's not out. His name is Rob Will. That's like a Kurt Vonnegut name, right? Like he's been robbed of his will, right? Rob Will makes art in prison. A friend of mine at the Innocence Project's in touch with him a lot. Rob Will was convicted of killing a police officer in Texas. That is not what you want to get convicted of, believe me. That's worst place, worst state, worst crime. Rob Will goes on death row. He has been in his cell. He's about 40 now. He went in when he was 20 or 20 and a half or 19, I forget. But he kind of went in when he's 20. Now he's 40. He's been in 20 years. He has been confined to a 6-foot by 9-foot cage 23 hours a day for the last 20 years, from 20 to 40 years old. He's in that cage. I don't give a shit what you did. I don't want to put anybody in a cage like that for a long time. So Rob makes art. And my friend Jason, the great Jason Flom, said, we're going to give Rob Will an art show. You're an art curator, Tunney. You should help us do an art show. So we gave Rob Will an art show. I didn't really have that much to do with it, but I went there. And there was an artist statement. Rob Will wrote an artist statement. I was so curious to read this little artist statement they put on the wall. I'm going to paraphrase badly here, but here's what Rob Will's art statement read. I've remembered it almost perfectly, but I'm going to give it to you quickly. He wrote this. Here's how it starts. Here's his art statement. Rob Will, artist statement. He said, wow, what a beautiful world. I just can't believe it. you know, my first 7 years, all I did was read philosophers, but that led me into biology. But now the last few years, I'm into quantum physics. Wow, it's amazing. I'm sitting here in my small room and I'm exploring the universe and I'm learning so much. I'm so engaged. I just can't wait tomorrow to get to chapter 11 in my new quantum physics books. I wouldn't have even been able to understand it a year ago. And then I'm going to do my exercise and I'm making art. That's Rob Will. So Rob Will has the answers for all of us. He didn't go in like that, by the way. He was kind of a petty thief or something. He was not a perfect guy, but the guy he was with shot a cop. And Rob Will also happened to get shot or had some injury, got shot in the hand or something during this thing. And the guy who did it, they know who he was. He was the son of a very decorated police officer. During Rob Will's trial, every single seat in the courtroom was filled up with fully dressed police officers. And by the way, I'm not an anti-police guy. That was called the Blue Wall. They put Rob Will away. Rob Will did not kill the police officer. The police captain or whatever he was, son, killed the police officer. It's quite known by all parties. It's known today by all parties. And that guy is in jail for another kind of murder or something else. And Rob Will...
Was that guy charged in the end for it? Or?
No, for something else. So Rob Will has run out of his appeals because he can't. So he's really between a rock and a hard place. He's waiting for some legislation to drop that says you can appeal based on whatever these new parameters are, because he's not able to appeal. Everyone knows he's innocent. And Rob Will is probably not going to get out of jail anytime soon, but we're trying. So that guy's statement, he's not what you said. He's not broken. Rob Will, to me, is just one of the most fantastic human beings I've ever heard about. And I've never met him, but I know him. That he wrote that artist statement after 20 years in jail, that means it's possible. You can be super engaged and joy and beautiful. That's the big lesson. That's the end of the podcast for me. Boom, drop the mic. I mean, if you can
like
do
that
that,
cigar, he's
come
done.
out like that. I don't expect you to. I expect you to come out pissed off and rip-roaring full of vengeance, because I would fucking be. And so I've learned so much from these guys. This group of people that I know, these exonerees, are so powerful. They've got so many lessons. Sonny Jacobs is a light that comes in the room and you feel embarrassed. She's unbelievable. This little old lady walks in. She got the power. And so we're trying to figure out, what is the handbook? How do we take care of exonerees? Who's going to fund that? I think it has to be a responsibility. Listen, we paid our tax money to put these guys in jail. You should pay your tax money to help them. It's just unbelievable to me.
Peter, you're
so
way
I'll
too
probably
logical.
be on that clause till I die.
Way too logical. We don't take care of everyday citizens in this country. You know, we had to have a conversation when the whole pandemic began, that there is a group, a demographic of children whose only healthy meal they get is at school. So they're in America. Well, listen, come on. We are a very polarized nation, and it doesn't surprise me that no one wants to take up the cause of saving someone who, in their mind, is still guilty, no matter how much, because they're going to. That's how they rationalize it.
Now,
right?
by the way, so that's innocent people that, and innocent is a relative term, right? They might have done something else. Who gives a shit? The Central Park 5 kids may have been smoking weed and throwing rocks. Who gives a shit? No. They didn't gang rape that woman. Mm-hmm. Somebody else did.
Right.
And by the way, in the Central Park 5 case, it's one of the craziest cases ever, because all the cops videotape the confessions that they coerced out of these kids by lying to them. It's all bullshit. It's all taped. They were proud of it. They came up with it, you know?
Well, you're talking about the New York City police force? I mean, come on.
And listen, if I'm in trouble, I'm glad to see cops around. I don't have in me, and listen, I was a gangster from New York. I did everything. I don't want to confess to anything on your podcast, but I did a lot. But I still love and respect police, like I love and respect doctors. I know some nefarious doctors, dude. There's a lot of bad doctors out there. There's a lot of bad shrinks. There's a lot of bad gynecologists, figuring every patient or whatever. There's all this stuff in every profession. and they go down once in a while.
What time is it?
You know?
How long did it take to get there? Okay.
Yeah, sorry about that. It's just that I happened to know one who was like the top gynecologist, you know, and walked on water. Bernie Madoff walked on water. Revered by the Jewish community every day until the exact day when he said, "I'm so sorry, I never even made any investments. I'm just fucked up."
Well,
What?
I mean,
What? So I
even
think
when you're
it's
young-
the same for me with police, with everything.
Well,
And I
that
think
is the
police
danger.
are more inclined.
That is the danger, though, is that when you get to the point where people don't respect or, you know, want anything to do with the police, then you end up with the same problem that they have. You know, the reason why you have problems in shitty neighborhoods is because the people that are there that actually aren't dealing drugs or, you know, doing anything crazy, they can't call the cops because they're in a situation where if they did, then they'll be a target.
Well, then we're back a little bit to systemic racism when we're talking about incarceration. You know, I saw a stat somewhere that said like 51% of all crack is smoked by white dudes, but 94% of everyone in jail for crack is black. So you got, you know, it's like that.
Oh yeah.
And so there is so much of that. That goes back to redlining, neighborhoods.
What do you mean they invented those? They invented those in New York, right? Cocaine, since it was considered a white man's drug, you got 6 months or maybe a suspended sentence. The same amount of crack cocaine, you did time. And you did.
Well, you know, it's 100 to 1 is the legislation, right?
Yeah.
That was like federal legislation. Like 1 gram of crack equals 100 grams of coke, and you get these sentences, you know?
Yeah, well, last week when we had Blue on the show,
days.
he was saying how when they changed that, once they sort of realized that and changed the laws again, then they let a lot of people out because they were, you know, and they let them out with a smile and a sorry guys, you know, didn't give them any.
Let me bring it back to cannabis. You know, we go back to like Reefer Madness, the movie, right? I did the after party for Reefer Madness off Broadway in New York City. Some friends of mine ran. It was amazing. But there's another documentary, if you never saw it, it's called The House We Live In. It's produced by Brad Pitt and Russell Simmons, a bunch of guys. And it talks about all this kind of systemic racism resulting in
drug laws.
Yeah, drug laws and Rockefeller laws and all this kind of stuff. And federal judges are resigning because they don't want to give a 20-year-old kid 20 years in jail. But they have to. It's a mandatory thing. But they talked about, it was so interesting, how it was Asians using opium in California. And then it was weed, right? It was and they have every president saying, this is the worst thing we've ever had. Then the president says, cocaine is the scourge of this country. It's the worst thing. The next president said, crack cocaine is the worst thing we've ever had in this country. Fentanyl is the worst thing. And you keep saying that as you just incarcerate minorities as you go. That's really what was happening, right? And so we did that. I mean, wouldn't you feel silly, or not silly is the wrong word, feel ashamed and horrible for putting someone in jail for smoking weed, where you guys are smoking weed on the podcast? You got 400,000 or 500,000 people sitting in jail for having a bag of fucking weed. Mm-hmm. And meanwhile, you have subprime mortgage crisis. One guy, Fabrice, whatever his name was, the minorest cog in anything. Nobody went to jail for subprime. Nobody, not a day, brother. Mm-hmm. Not a day for rocking the whole country, stealing everything. If you and I went around this corner, we robbed Olive Garden of $300 today, you're going to get like 15 years in jail.
What do you mean? They said 90% of Congress and the Senate all sold stock prior to the lockdown and COVID beginning because they all had insider information as to what was going to happen in this country. And they're all getting reelected right now.
Let me tell you, funny thing about it is the great part of what you just said is a lot of people sold stock right before the pandemic, right when we knew there was pandemic. But
not 2 weeks beforehand. They knew
they all lost their ass because the stock market went up. Surprise! So crazy, right?
Yeah.
You know, I'll give you a quick one. You know, Martha Stewart, when she sold her ImClone stock, which I could do a whole podcast on because it's just fucking Shakespearean, right? But she got the tip from the chairman, Sam Waxel. Said, listen, Martha, I got the letter from the FDA today. It said they're never going to approve our drug. Sell your stock. A little memo on her memo pad. He called her and stuff. I believe he took her down. It's the only one he called, knowing she would do it. She sold her 4,000 shares of stock at $54, and the stock went to $50, right? Here's what happened. Sam went to jail. Martha went to jail for lying that she ever got the call. She didn't get any other jail for stock manipulation. She got jail for perjury for lying about that she sold. By the way, you're talking about like $20,000 that she saved. She had 4,000 shares of stock. It went down 5 points. However, Sam Waxwell's incredible brother took over the company. And I know Sam for like 22 years. He was a champion of this anti-cancer therapy. And he was an MD, PhD, SEC certified. You know, he was a smart guy across the board. And he raised a lot of money for this, and he thought it was going to work. And it must have been, there's a letter you get from the FDA that says, hey, you're going to have to redo a part of the trial. There's a lot of letters you get. There's one letter you get that says, we looked at your data. We are not going to review your trial, and we are never going to review it again. Done. That's your Dunn letter. Sam got that letter for
Dunn
info.
letter. We get the Dunn letter.
However, his brother came back in and got things straightened out and got the thing approved because it does work in Europe, and the stock went to 80. And while Martha Stewart is sitting in jail for saving 4 points by getting the call, the stock was up 30 points. How you feel about that, Martha? Good call. So it's kind of like that I love that these politicians probably all went short in the market, you know, thinking we're going to doomsday, and then the market takes off.
I'm not saying they shorted the market. I'm saying they got out of certain industries. They got out of any of their airline stocks, any of the entertainment crews, anything that was involved in hotels. Anything like that they got out of, and they went heavy on shipping.
I wonder if they were that
transit
smart
companies
to just get out of those. I mean, airlines for sure.
Yeah,
there's a lot of stuff going on.
Well, the funny thing though is like the people that get in trouble are the ones that are like usually it's the people that are actually not trying to beat the system the entire time. It's always those people that are doing it the first.
Somebody gets a call from a friend.
Low-hanging fruit.
You just throw them under the bus because the other people are protected. I mean, the subprime mortgage crisis is really unbelievable. There's even been movies made about it, right? Like there's a lot of information known. What about the ratings agency, Moody's and Standard & Poor's? They had to rate all that paper A. Someone is rating D paper A and making a ton of money off it. They never even asked them a question. You don't even know their names, bro. They've never been on TV. They're rating D paper A so the guy could sell it for $60 billion instead of $6 billion.
Sure.
And then when they found out it was only worth $6 billion, he had quit the company and was on his yacht. Right. Done. Those are the real stories of subprime mortgage, you know? That's some crazy banana shit. Nobody goes to jail. Please.
I enjoyed the movie The Big Short. I thought it was fantastic, and I keep it saved on my DirecTV list. It's great.
It's great.
You know,
I know those kids. We were at a hedge fund conference together, and the guy's name, Michael Hill, I forget his name, but he's been a speaker 2 times with me on things. It's just fascinating to talk to him, you know? But there are other guys that really those guys made a little bit of money. These other guys made big money. They made $10 billion here and there.
So I'm gonna give.
Yeah, we haven't really talked about anything. We're just kind of rambling in a weed-soaked conversation. Is that how this?
That's the show.
Pretty much.
That's our construct.
Wait. But do any of the people you know from this project that got released, have any of them decided to take up growing cannabis? And if so, what gear do they run?
They're probably afraid to go anywhere near anything like that, you know, for violations. But
it definitely would be down the road if you had.
I think it would be great to have exonerees and convicted felons that are out, and to give them jobs in the cannabis industry. I think it's fucking great.
Of course, because it's like, again, we started talking about in the last show too, where the people that are the ones that go to jail for cannabis should almost be fast tracked into like given a job right out of the gate, because it's like
officers training program.
They need it, and they obviously are. That is their thing. That's their jam, right? And they went to jail for it. So, you know, I think it would be a pretty easy way to get the right people on the right path. Because also just connection to plants when you're like, you need something to take. Like you've been in a situation where you couldn't take care of anything, not even, you know, barely yourself for so many years. And then you have, you know, to give them the responsibility, but keep it low impact. You know what I mean? There's no reason to
look at Paul Hildwin. You know, I'm going to weave a little bit of cannabis in here. I'll use the word grass, right? In prison, 34 years, he wants to put his foot onto green grass and get recharged by the earth and the grass and the dew and the thing. And he did. And he came back to life. Wow.
Right.
It's amazing. Because you can't go step on a metal scale. That's not going to do anything for you, right? So it's really organic in there. It's really organic. It's interesting. Grass. He stepped on grass.
Right. Well, I think it's like what I was saying earlier too. When people come out of prison, they're fucking really lost because things are just like changing on a daily. Like even if you went out of circulation for a year and came back, the fuck's TikTok? What the fuck is this? What the fuck is that? And I was at a supermarket one time and I saw a guy staring at the automatic check thing like it was a fucking alien to him, right? And he
probably
was
me.
And I just looked at him and then I looked at his jacket and he had like a real late 80s, early 90s jacket on. And I was like, that jacket would never have survived this long unless it was like in a closet somewhere for 20 plus years. And this guy was just like in shock at what is going. He couldn't believe what was going on. And the woman came over to help him out and show him how to use the scanner. And as I walked out, I was just thinking to myself, like, damn, it must be so weird to come out like of that bubble that you've been in. And you could tell this guy had been in the bubble since, at least by the jacket, I would say it was FUBU, pre-FUBU. You know what I mean? It was old.
Old shit. My entire platform is this: if you're cool in here, then you're cool. That's my entire platform, right? And so, we talk about, well, you were in jail. Well, not everyone is just like doing yoga, reading books, and becoming a better person. There's a lot of shit that goes down in jail. They're not. There's a lot of mental shit, whether you're guilty or innocent, that they're doing to you that is so dehumanizing, And when you do that, like B.F. Skinner was a real person, you know what I mean? And we really can be conditioned into certain things and then be reconditioned, of course. But it's so crazy and barbaric the way we do it. Look.
Oh, shit.
I have some better
No, I got it right here.
Right at a good part of the story, you fucking disconnect the video, Adam.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm just about to stripping you down naked and hosing you off and showering with men and no privacy. But, different countries do it differently. There was a great 60 Minutes about these German prisons where upon entry, you have the key to your cell. They immediately get you going on a craft or a thing that you learn. And it's unbelievable. They have like no recidivism. There's great models for prison systems on planet Earth of rehabilitating your prisoners because you're going to get them back. They're coming back, baby.
How's that for irony? It's 2020, and you are using an example of a good prison system, holding them up as Germany.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah. That, to me, says we here are so fucked. We are so fucked.
A terrible
we fuck
prison
ourselves.
Reputation is Japan. Japan, I think there's you're not allowed to ever speak. When you're in the workroom, you can't look at anybody. You got to keep your head down. They have them working away like 15 hours a day in silence. And they believe, like the prison system in Japan would say, like the sign on the door says, we not only want to steal your time, we want to steal your soul and your mind while you're here. That's your penalty. And this idea of the penalty, you did this, so you should get that. You stole $500 million, so you get home arrest for 6 months.
Right.
You stole $500, you get gang raped for 20 years. It's fucked up.
It's super fucked up.
It's super fucked up, and the sentencing is fucked up, and the whole thing is so brutal. Why? I would like to really punish the guy. I would like to punish the guy that stole the $500 million. Let him eat shit and wash dishes for a couple of years. Learn his lesson, right? So many of the more difficult populations. I was just talking to someone. The movie Monster with Charlize Theron? So I was talking to someone who was in prison with her for minor crimes long before she became the serial killer monster, Eileen Wuornos. And she was telling me that in prison, this is someone who did time with her. I was just talking to someone on the phone who was incarcerated and no longer is, and was innocent. And I was mentioning the thing about Monster, and she said, oh, I did time with Aileen. She was so nice. I said, really, what was she like? She was the most timid person in our prison. Her job was to organize the board games and stuff and put them away. That was always the lowest responsibility job. She stayed out of someone's way. She was in for shoplifting or prostitution. She didn't remember, but it wasn't a heavy crime. And when she got out, something happened to her. she got brutally raped or something. And she just snapped and wanted to kill every man that wanted to fuck a prostitute. And that's what she did, you know? So Eileen Wuornos becomes the monster, but something happened to her. If your father has sexually abused you from when you're 10 to 20 years old and you come out and beat someone up, I get it, bro. I don't even know how you get through it. So there's so much of this is wound up that these are horrible people and they can't do this. You have a lot of victims of household abuse, sexual abuse, that end up committing the same crimes that happened to them. That's a big cycle that happens, you know? And so just to have a little more compassion and think about, like, no one has any sympathy for Eileen Wuornos, but I do. I do. And so I started off this conversation saying, when I got into this Exonerees thing with Sonny and Peter and Jason Flom and learned more about it, I have so much compassion and empathy for an innocent person going to jail. It's kind of all of our nightmares. You know, like, you hang up this podcast, you leave your building, and outside there's 4 cops. You're like, what are you guys doing here? Like, you're under arrest. You're like, for what? I just gave a podcast. We have a description matching you. You're like, I'm going to call my lawyer, be out of jail tonight. But how about this? You never leave jail from that moment. They lock you up. They hold you during your trial. At the end, then you get your 20 years. Right. And 20 years later, we get you out and you're back on the podcast. Well, how was that, buddy? Well, what'd you do? You didn't know. You walked outside. It's like the ultimate nightmare, right? Of just getting picked up for no reason and going through that process.
And we used to always, America used to be this whole thing where we thought we were all, oh yeah, that's America. America, that don't happen in America. It happens in Russia. It happens over here. It happens there. And now you start to see it closing in where you're like, you know, once, like, if you're involved in cannabis or anything, you know friends who have gotten conspiracy charges or something like that. And you're just like, what? So wait a minute. So those guys talked about doing something that they never did and they went to jail for it? Like, holy fuck. So we've seen the kind of...
Well, not only is it worse...
And taking your... before
we have the most prisoners.
Oh,
we
my God.
win.
Yeah,
we have the most prisoners by far. I wish I had the stats here. I'm tempted to look them up, but I'll just say the wrong shit. Yeah. It's something like, we have like 60% of all the world's female prisoners in American prisons, or 70. It's a hugely high. Like, other countries don't have hundreds of thousands of women in prison for whatever.
Well,
because they haven't monetized their prison system.
Well, it's privatized business. Prisons are big business. We have 2.5 million people in prison, bro.
Not only privatized prisons, but also
big business.
Also people working in prisons, making all sorts of products. It slowly gets to the point where it's like, oh yeah, that's normal.
Well, there's a machine.
License plates, right?
There's a machine of incarceration. There's a machine of incarceration. You get rewarded for putting people in jail. You get awarded for making arrests. You get awarded for giving out traffic tickets, and then we punish you because you committed the crime. What we should do, really, and this makes me sound like a kook, what we should do when you go to prison...
That's way in the rearview mirror, Peter.
is we should love you up. Mm-hmm. That's what we should do. We should show you love and compassion. Someone should say to you, how did you feel when you plunged a knife into her chest? How do you feel about that today? One thing you do know today is there are many cases of, just for example, of the husband and wife whose daughter was brutally murdered, meeting the murderer in prison. He's never getting out, by the way. But after 4 or 5 years, they wanted to go meet him, and he wanted to meet them. These things are well documented, easily Googleable. They've been on 60 Minutes. They've been on everywhere. 60 Minutes is like, do you mean to tell me you're going to have lunch today with the guy that chopped your daughter up and stuff? She said, I am, and I love him. I've gotten to know him after the last 10 years. That person is also like her link to her daughter. You know what I mean? That's the link that she doesn't. And the guy is a changed guy in prison. He was a young guy.
The last person to see your daughter.
Yeah, he was a young guy. He was a young guy. Like, in the one case I remember, he was like in his 20s, stabbed the girl in the kitchen in a fight, regrets it every day, really loved her, got life in jail. And the mother is visiting him. They have an incredible relationship. He's never getting out, but they talk about stuff. And here's the answer to what I'm trying to tell you, pandemic and everything, is she feels better today than she did before she met him and started talking to him. And she's glad that he's in her life and they're comforting each other as human beings. Dude, that's all you can do. That's all we can do, is try to be a fucking human being through all this shit. This idea of, you did something wrong to me, so I'm going to blow the windows out in your car and all that. That's just like TV bullshit. That's not how the world really works. It's not how the world really works. And you get really bad results when hate begets hate begets hate begets punishment. And, you know, you're talking about, and this is America. Germany has a great prison system. Yeah, the irony of that is not lost on me. You know? Well, and that, you know, Japan is Hiroshima is a town you visit now for tourists. Like, shit changes, bro. COVID's going to be gone. We're going to still be here. We'll be dealing with the next crazy shit that's going on. What I say is, you've got to keep your marbles. For me personally, the only way for me keeping my marbles, and I am certainly not a role model of fucking anything, I can guarantee you that, but is you've got to be in service to other people. You've got to. Mm-hmm. You've got to. And that's how you get through all the heavy shit. That's your only way. You got to get in service, whatever that means to you. And it might mean just not doing damage.
Right.
You know, but that's what you have to do.
That's one thing in our community of the cannabis industry is like, it's always been that, because, you know, we're producing, you know, you're growing your plants, you're taking care of your people, and you're hopefully taking care of people who maybe don't have money by just using every part of that plant, whether it be making somebody edibles or some from the scraps, or making the hash, or giving away some of it so someone else can do it themselves. We kind of do that a lot, I think, more than most others, because we have an ability to keep producing and more and more and more.
Well, the weed community is a very sharing community. You know what I mean?
It's always been.
You cannot sit around a table with 6 guys and one guy doesn't have weed and the other 5 guys are smoking and he wants it. Like, that doesn't happen.
Exactly.
It's innate.
No, wait. That happened to me once. Exactly one time at Madison Square Garden in 1990. During the drought for a Grateful Dead show, believe it or not, these 2 fucking straight guys. I mean, I knew I didn't want to ask, but they were smoking some fire weed, and they looked like maybe it was their first or second show or something like that. And I'm like, man, any chance you want to share that? And the fucking guy looks at me, and goes, "You should have brought your own." And we went and found another section to dance in.
All right, so that guy deserves a beating. I retract everything I said. We beat the shit out of him. No, I'm kidding.
Exactly once.
Wow. So there you go. At a show too. That's even worse. That's
I used to bring joints just to start them up. Take a couple of hits off with your friends and then send it down the row.
Giveaways.
Because it was so much more enjoyable to be in a section where everyone was high than not.
Listen, I love this example one because it's a really, really perfect one. I would say it is more fun to pass a joint to someone who is dying for weed and didn't have any, then take a hit yourself.
You just described Adam's life.
That's kind of, that's baked in the industry, right?
Yeah, it's well, you know, and I think one of the things, like, my whole MO has always been like, I want to get everybody in this room as high as I can. You know what I mean? That's pretty much get in the room, look around, look at the state of everybody, find the guy who needs it the most, start with him, and then kind of work your way around.
Well, I always had those problems. I had problems with drugs, alcohol, and everything in my life, but you know, I would have, like, let's say I was hosting 20 people were coming over my house for a dinner party. So 20 people. So we ordered 20 bottles of vodka and 20 ounces of weed. That's just how that's what I thought. I mean, I have to have their own bottle. Like, that's how I thought about it.
Right. Well, then good. You're a good planner for a party. You're a good party.
Make sure I get you my address before we're done with the show.
What was that?
Make sure I get Peter my address before we're done with the show. If we're going to,
oh yeah, I'm a good host. I can tell you, I've taken care of everybody as much.
You remind me of my buddy RL out in New York.
I'm going to hit Chaz up and have him jump in the conversation in a second. But
we didn't say anything yet. We didn't go anywhere.
Let's talk about art a little bit, because if we're going to have Chaz come on.
Well, let me say one thing on here, just in case anyone is actually listening. I'm so suspect of the whole thing.
Oh, there's nobody really. This is just a way to get you in for an hour.
501c3 is called the Sunny Center. You can Google it. You could donate money. You could give $100. Every bit of that money goes to, like, buying them, guys in our house, laundry detergent, electricity, whatever. So, like, money is really well spent and really done, and no donation is too small. I'd love to see some people listening donate a little money to the Sunny Center. They need it.
100%.
No one takes care of these people, dude. It's like me and you listening. It's us. It's it.
Oh, definitely. I hope some of the listeners do that, because again, we're all about helping each other out. So your gallery is smack dab in the middle of Wynwood Walls, which, if anybody, I mean, most people don't know what Wynwood Walls is. You think they do, but they don't. Pretty much the cradle of Art Basel, right? I mean, it's pretty much like.
I love that you say that because it never was, but
no?
I would say Mecca for street art, for sure, right? Uh-huh. And it's so funny. Listen, I'm going to just run on it. So Art Basel comes to Miami 10, 12 years ago. Miami was not known as a place to buy art. Miami was a place known for cocaine cowboys and kind of trashy ghosts living on the beach and stuff like that, right? And the Rat Pack and all this kind of lore of Miami. And Miami became an art-centric place. I've been dealing in art and making art for a long time. There was only two places you ever bought art 25 years ago. London and New York. That's it. You're going to buy a piece of art. A little bit, you might go to California to buy something from some rich tech guy or something, but that's it. But Miami is a legitimate place to buy art today, of course. People fly here from all over the world to buy art. Art Basel, last year, I think I read they had 120,000 paid admissions to the convention center, which was Art Basel. It's a convention center with 300 booths. I personally hate anything with 300 booths. I don't like being in there, let alone if one of them.
Oh, you'd love MJ like BizCon then.
I like my place to just have one booth, the Peter Tunney booth. That's where I go, right? Yeah. So Art Basel last year, we had like 120,000 people a day.
That's crazy.
And we had it for a month, not for 3 days. And then we had 2 million people in the next 5 months. So we're super visited, super engaged, open to everybody, outdoor giant street art park. You can't turn your head anywhere without having a towering mural around you by the greatest artists in the world, including London Police, who I loved. So I wouldn't say it was a cradle of Art Basel, but it became bigger than the fair.
Yeah.
The Wynwood becomes like the gravitational epicenter.
It's there every day of the year, too.
Yeah,
so
and then, you have fairs that popped up around it, so...
We have something similar in Colorado. We have Rhino District, which is right where I live, and it's a industrial area, which they have.
Did that come after Wynwood?
Yeah, they did a thing called the Crush Walls there, which they've started.
But that comes out of Wynwood. It's a page out of the Wynwood book, right?
100%.
So there's one I never even heard about. I heard of Crush Walls. I didn't hear the Rhino, but since Wynwood,
that's the same one.
The real story of Wynwood now. I used to tell the story of how we came here. There was nothing here, and now it's cool. The real estate's gone up. But the real story of Wynwood now is not Wynwood. It's the 1,000 other street art-centric parks around the world that have popped up without us doing anything.
Right.
It's pretty amazing. There's a lot of them.
Which is great, because a lot of times they are really... Oh, there we go. Speaking of which,
Chazzy!
Turn your phone this way.
Yeah, turn your phone sideways.
There you go.
Picture. Hey.
Wow, is that Chinny Bob? I don't believe it, Chinny Bob.
So we got friends here and there. Hi.
Hey.
Everybody put a mask on.
Oh my God, it's 2 people in the same place. You guys are going down.
Uh-oh.
Was it 3? I thought maximum in Amsterdam.
Oh, Amsterdam. They're safe. I'm sure they're safe. Where's Steve?
They're in lockdown. We lost him, or where was he going to? Let's see.
Where'd you go, Chazzy?
I see him.
Here we go.
All right, there we are. Chazzy, baby.
Tunney, I saw you on that pool table the other day. I'll slap you. Next time I come to America, I'm slapping you on the pool table.
Oh, Chazzy. Listen, I'll just tell you one thing. It's the only thing I can brag about. It's the only thing I can do well. Of everything in the world that I've ever done, the thing that I do the best compared to the rest of the world is play pool.
Wow. That's a challenge if I've ever heard one.
Did you see that trick shot?
I mean, I saw the trick shot, and I liked it. I like the trick shot, but that's trick shot. Honey, when it comes down to the grit and 2 grown
That's not even a trick shot. That's just a shot. There's no trick. That was just a shot. However, I'll just set it up by telling you this, Chazzy. That was a pool table I've never seen in my life. I haven't taken a pool shot in over a year. I played 1 hour a year for the last 10 years. I walked in there on a strange table, never hit the ball, strange cue. I said to the people in the room there, they were all giant players. I said, you want to see a trick shot? They said, show us, Tony. I said, I'll give you this one. 6 rails. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll hit the 6th rail, cut the 2, make the 5 combo. 6 rails, 1 try. To make it a little more difficult, Chazzy, I'll start in the jaws, off the leather, out of the pocket of your choice. I put the ball in the jaws. It's all on video. It's on Instagram. I put the ball in the jaws. I had to shoot it off the leather, 1 shot. Doink, 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 doink. Boom. Thank God it went out. I always look like a total dick. But I made it. 1 shot.
Absolutely. No, tungsten steel. The point is that I saw that and I loved it. And that's why I'm ready. You're in our league, baby. Come in. Well,
let me give you the key to that shot, Chazzy. High left English. But to hit the ball with high left really
Adam,
hard,
write that down.
You got to know what you're doing.
Yeah, my brother. He's taller than me and he's older than me, so high left English.
All right.
I don't know.
And he's higher than you. I don't think he's higher than you though. That would be a statement.
Is your brother higher than you, Chaz?
Taller than me.
Oh, taller. That's a different thing.
Chaz, I don't know why.
That's the wrong podcast.
Chaz's whole appearance in that square, he just looks like a serial killer who's got people hostage. You know, you just see the mouth. It's kind of muffled. He's like, if you don't send me the $3 million wire by tomorrow,
it puts the lotion on or it gets the hose.
Exactly. Put the lotion in the basket.
Precious.
So we were literally just getting on to a little bit about art, Wynwood Walls, and gave a little back history, and of course we used your London Police as our backdrop for last week's show, so I didn't want to be redundant, and had to give out. But your first time meeting Peter, and give us that, because that must be an amazing. I can imagine that being a interesting event right there.
I'll listen to that.
Can you tell us? Do you remember? Were you too drunk?
Yeah, it was, because it was a wonderful year in Miami. It was the same time that these guys, and Peter was working with Jessica Goldman, who was part of the Wynwood, was running the Wynwood Walls. It was the same year that they got the Miami Dolphins gig, and that was when they somehow convinced someone in the position of owning the Miami Dolphins, that whole franchise, to come in to the stadium. And we've all been in sports stadiums. There's so many blank walls. I grew up going to see West Ham United, my favourite football team in London. There's blank walls everywhere, and it was a perfect marriage of art and sport and community, and Pete was very much part of that. And the same year we did the Wynwood Walls, which was this ever-growing sort of epicenter of Miami and Wynwood and all the art that was going on there. And we met him in that period. So at the same time we did the Miami Dolphins gig, where we painted a great mural inside the stadium, we did this incredible piece in the Wynwood Walls too, amongst all these other artists. And it was a wonderful time. It really was. It was huge. Peter, would you agree?
I forgot that we met doing Hard Rock Stadium. I love to hear someone else talk about it, because you're right. That was a really cool project, and that did take some convincing. And by the way, I was the convincer in that, through my own weird Raymond Reddington ways. I got them to agree to let us do the Hard Rock Stadium. As it turns out, it was a genius move for them. The same with the Super Bowl ticket this year with Tristan, that it's so good for the NFL to be involved in street art, on so many different levels, so many important levels. And then your mural, I'm in your mural. By the way, I'm sitting here in Alex's house, Statue of Liberty, Barry Sedimall, the lads. You don't see it, it's not a camera. I'm seeing 3 or 4 of your paintings right here. I finished this hanging today. I've been coming here for 4 or 5 hours a day, once a week for a month, to finish doing this whole job here. It's really quite amazing. But Chaz, here's a story I want to tell. You're there. You're just going to acknowledge that it's true, because Dave thinks I'm totally full of shit. Can we curse on this thing?
100%.
Oh, yeah. Shut the fuck up. You can't curse. You just cost us our R rating.
Yeah. Chaz and Bob are in Miami. And me being the big baller of all time, I want to show them Peter Tunney's Miami, because I got this town on lockdown, right? I'm the Wizard of Wynwood. I said, you guys, we're going to meet at my house early in the morning, and we're going to go jet skiing. I'm going to show you Miami from the water. I said, well, we never been jet skiing, you know, Peter.
I would love to see Chaz jet skiing.
Well, wait till you hear. So I got 2 jet skis in my backyard that I rented for the day to impress them, pretended I owned them. We go down there. The guy that gave me the jet skis, he said, Peter, this one jet ski I'm giving you today, this is like a super turbo jet ski. It goes 90 miles an hour, so be careful on that one. So I'll take that one. So I took Bob on the back of my jet ski. This is the first thing we're doing, and I'm going to show them I had a lunch plan, a dinner plan, a sleepover. I had the whole big plan for them. And what happened? Did we lose Chaz, or is he still with us?
No, I'm still here.
He's there.
So the amazing thing is, this is a true story. We go down the dock. I get on my gorgeous wife in her bikini somehow ends up with Chaz on her back. You know, I'm realizing that today, when you don't know who the worst player at the table is, it's you. It was me. So we go out there. We're just out of the canal area, and there's the big open bay. And I've gone jet skiing there 100 times. So I've got Bob on the back. We're not wearing helmets or anything. We do have a life vest. And I hit the gas. Now, normally the jet ski goes like 50 miles an hour and you scoot across it. It was flat glass. It was amazing. I see Chaz's ass in front of me by about 200 yards with my wife. They're just zipping across into eternity on a perfectly glassy day in Miami, Florida. I was so proud to be showing these guys, this is Miami with the wind in your hair and your arms wrapped around my wife's breast. It's amazing. And I hit the gas, and I hit the gas again, and I always drive just flat out on that thing. So I have the gas all the way cranked up, and I realized, shit, this is not 55 miles an hour. This feels really fucking fast. And I do this because we're going like 85 miles an hour now, and I felt it because your face is doing it. I look back at Bob, and I'm like, hey, you're like, that's a little Miami experience. And I look back, and boom, the fucking lights go out. The jet ski must have hit something, stopped, whatever. Like, we went from 90 to 0 in 1 second. I've been thrown off a lot of shit before. I've never had this experience. I've been on the whip on water skis at 60 miles an hour. Never had this. I hit the water like Evel Knievel like 10 times before I sunk. Like, boom, back, boom. My arm was behind my back. My thing was ripped up. There was just nothing you could do. And then you went underwater, and I came up, and I was really in shock, and I was beaten, and I knew my leg was fucked up, and my shoulder's been torn out of the socket. I just was looking around for Bob because I realized, like, we're probably going to die, you know. I look up, of course, Chaz.
Get your arms off my wife.
Like now a mile away. Thanks for the buddy system, Chaz. They left. Wait till you hear what happened to them. So I look around. I see Bob pop up.
He's bobbing. He was bobbing.
I said, Bob, are you okay? He says, I think I hurt my wrist and maybe my ribs. Like that. I said, okay. So I swam over to Bob. My shoulder was so fucked, dude. I'm telling you, like 2 feet out of the socket, came back in. So it's very hard to get back on the jet ski when you have this injury, the leg and the shoulder. I get back there. I get myself back up onto the jet ski. Bob is in rough shape. He's not that easy to get up either because he can't use his arm. So I get Bob back up on my jet ski. This whole, just getting back on the jet ski probably took us 45 minutes because we had to rest for like 15 minutes just to get our shit together. I'm telling you, we were fucked up. Not a boat in sight.
These guys are still gone.
What
happened to the buddy system?
The horizon line. He's probably getting laid by this point.
Well, his wife is driving.
I'm not even thinking about it. I get Bob. Bob is kind of hanging on my back like this. We get on the jet ski with the one hand, and I drive back to my house, the 5 minutes from my house where we were, at like 2 miles an hour. I mean, we're fucked. We get out. We go into Shay's lounges. I go inside. I get ice for Bob's wrist, my leg. Oh, my God. We were sitting in the chairs, and now we're kind of feeling, because our bodies got really torqued. So besides the injuries, every muscle in my body from my ankles to my neck was whacked out. And
a question, Peter. At no point in time, at this point, did anyone think, hey, maybe I had to call a doctor or an ambulance or something like that?
Nah, not yet.
Okay.
So I just tried to stabilize the 2 patients. We're sitting in our chairs. We literally not going anywhere, feeling our stuff. And
good. That would have been my recommendation.
I waited for Chaz and Amy for 3 fucking hours. They were out there in the ocean. Bob and I we're banged up and we're hurting because 3 hours later you're feeling it all. Chaz and Amy come rolling up. Chaz comes off there. He's like,
Hey, boy, I was swimming with dolphins naked with your wife. It was the greatest day of my life. Thank you for showing me Miami. We're like, you motherfucker, we could have died out there. What happened to the buddy system?
Ambulance will be here any minute.
Painting. They did make a painting called, what was it called, Chaz?
It was something about the jet ski incident.
No, I know, but the painting was called
months of trauma
like Peter and Bob moments before the big crash. So I got that. So
that's a different side of the story, by the way.
And
what happened to Bob? Did Bob go to the hospital?
She's coming in here.
It's a shame that Bob is not here at this point because he would be able to spend 25 minutes describing those 5 seconds that he was in the air flying, watching Tunney flying in front of him. He described it to me. It was like it's like a 20-minute.
Well, I actually said.
Well, did you guys ever figure out
when you die? You know, when you finally die and you're there with some pizza and they say to you, we can give you one moment of your life in slow motion and you can watch it. I'll say, give me the Tunney and Bob crash.
I'd love to see it too. I'd love to see me because that was wicked. Yeah.
Because it was crazy. I went out with Tunney's wife, and we swam with dolphins. They swam next to us. We went out to the hike. She tried to kill me as well, so it wasn't like there's no conspiracy. She tried to kill me too, but I managed to stay out. And we came back, and I remember Tunney going, "Where you been? Where's the buddy system? Where you been? You know, Bob's hurt. I'm a little hurt." He said, "Bob's hurt. I'm a little hurt." Bob's wrist was the size of his head. It's like he had another head on his wrist. It was massive. And he had to go to the hospital that night, and Tunney's had like 4 operations since. So.
Yeah, I denied the whole thing. For months. I finally went to the doctor for my leg. I had major surgery on my good knee. My left knee was broken 20 times.
There you go.
I had major surgery on my right leg, and the shoulder kept bothering me. I never quite got it back. And like 6 months after that, I finally admitted this is from the jet ski accident. I never told Jessica Goldman I got injured. I just told her we were okay. I think Bob had like some bruised ribs and broken wrist or something. I had major reconstruction on my shoulder.
You did that whole show in Miami Art Basel that year and in all the videos when you did the stuff on the beach, right?
I did the Taj Mahal, the Donald Trump Taj Mahal on the beach, the whole thing.
Yeah, I remember you telling me.
By the way, I had that surgery one day. They want to keep you in the hospital for a day or two. It's quite a gnarly surgery. They're drilling holes and doing bone plugs and stuff. And they put me on a nerve block, so like you don't feel your arm, you know? And the day of the surgery, that night, I had to speak somewhere. And I said, I'm just going to go there on the nerve block and the painkillers. I don't care. But I kept hitting shit with my arm and knocking things over. You know, I couldn't feel anything. It was weird. And then 3 days later, I had to come down to Miami with all this shit on and build the thing on the beach. There's video of me building it with one hand. But that's all. I forgot about the sling. That's also credited to you and Bob and Chitty Bob. I'll tell you a happier moment.
Tunney, to come full circle, next time I beat you at call, don't blame that shoulder and that jet ski incident for when I beat you. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I got it. I'll tell you the other memorable moment I really have with you guys, almost more than any. We'll go to the happy part. We had one of our lit up ladybugs in Wynwood, and Chinny Bob was there, a little glum for some reason. I said, Chinny Bob, let's go for a full-on Tunney Barry Manilow ladybug ride. I'm sure you remember this night, right? And we rode around, with 10,000 people on the streets. We rode around these ladybugs on full blast, cranking. You came and you gave without taking. Sent me away, oh Mandy. And we sang it with passion at the top of our lungs. It's a golf cart that looks like a lit up flying ladybug.
Gotcha.
And then we took the big garage door up where we pulled right into the show where their art was. And we sang this Barry Manilow, and hundreds of people sang along with us. Do you remember driving into both galleries and the throngs of people that were just dancing with us? One of the most joyous Art Basel memories I have is with you and Chinny Bob and the Ladybug.
Yeah.
Epic.
Absolutely.
Epic. They'll never take that away from us.
I hope you're high. I hope you're high, Chaz, to make it officially an Adam Dunn show moment. Otherwise,
by the way, I know I didn't get you the personal meet and greet and back rub from Barry Manilow, but since that show,
meet and greet and back rub.
Yeah, they wanted to have Barry Manilow back rub him and stuff. So I just didn't come through. I didn't get it. They went to Vegas anyway. But I have since talked to David Copperfield, who knows Manilow, and told him the story and how I've got to get these guys a one-on-one. So I'm still working on it. I'm going to get you your one-on-one with Barry, believe me.
Listen to this name dropping going on here. Barry Manilow back rubs. You have to get the done deal. If you want to get the back rub, you need the done deal. You need to go to Barry and say, I need the done deal. And then
I do.
Make sure you're clear to Barry's back rub. Yeah?
Barry's back rubs?
Barry's back rubs.
If they mention the done deal, what's the discount?
Yeah.
For the back rub? Yeah. Well, I think just getting it would be the done deal. I mean, that'd be the hard part.
No.
When it comes to getting Barry Manilow back rubs, I don't think there's a price you can put on that.
But what if he's a whore? He gives everyone the back
and
rub.
Bob and Chinny to sing like 5 bars with Barry, sitting at a piano in his like golden castle wherever he lives would be awesome.
I'm sure we'd be happy about that.
Yeah, I'm working on that. That's like my bucket list.
Tunney, he's playing the last show in Vegas next year on my birthday, 23rd October, Vegas. We should all be there. It's the last night of the tour.
You, sir, will have the best seats in the house and a backstage pass. I'm admitting it on this podcast. I got to put Raymond Reddington and make that happen.
That's all you need is confirmation now live on a podcast.
I've committed to it.
Let's do a live Adam Dunn show from Vegas. Backstage at the Barry Manilow show.
With Barry Manilow.
I think you'll have to.
He gets high, I'm sure.
Go there, you'll also go backstage with David Copperfield because that's so amazing.
Well, I don't have anything to do with David Copperfield.
Really? Listen to you.
We're fellow magicians, so we have a bond.
So you're so Chaz, you're trapped in Amsterdam now for a bit. It seems like.
Yeah, you never feel trapped in Amsterdam. If I'm honest, I think
it's the best place to get trapped.
Yeah, it's okay here. We're having fun. We've got some friends around, and the pool hall's still open. We've been playing pool. And
you making any art, Chazzy? You making any art?
All we're doing.
Good.
That's all we're doing. Nothing else to do.
Good.
I suppose that COVID is good for artists who need
should be. I always say when it rains, make art.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't quite say it like that or make art, but I totally understand what you're saying.
He makes bagels. Yeah. Dave makes bagels. He's a really good bagel. So when it rains,
listen, a lot of artists, because I'm in touch with a lot of them on a daily basis, 5-10 guys a day. A lot of artists are really struggling during COVID.
Yeah.
All art shows are canceled. Museum shows are canceled. No one's buying any art. They have no representation. Like that's 90% of the artists.
Peter, everyone is struggling right now.
Yeah.
This is day 245 for me. Yeah, cannabis isn't struggling. Cannabis wins everywhere, but
it hasn't been, decimated by this whole thing. Well, it has in a way though too, because I mean, even though people are smoking more, it's not like a happy smoking more. It's like,
but wait,
more about.
Let me throw
so you say, I think it's pretty happy. Did you guys happen to see South Park, the pandemic special?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
We're in Colorado, right?
I'm watching it my 4th time this week. It's just those guys are so smart. It's unbelievable.
Well,
I was talking to a dispensary owner who said that it's become there's a new twist to the industry. We existed up until this day by selling our product based on the nose. And now you have to sell a product to them that they don't get to smell beforehand because most of these places are 1 in, 1 out. They want pre-orders for safety, keeping employees done. So there is a shift. And I mean, bravo to cannabis for not only surviving, but thriving when they had to change everything about their entire model. Dispensaries used to have 15 windows, a bunch of people standing in line. There's no more of that. It's go to a website, order what you want, go pick it up, go take it away.
Do they email it? I mean, can you like Amazon or get it FedEx?
It'd be nice if you could email me, but we're not there yet.
In the city of Boulder, if you're a medical patient and you're one of the few dispensaries that has it ready, you can get cannabis delivered.
But why can't you get like Instacart from any of these places that have legal weed now?
Because we are still second-class citizens. It is still the people who are in charge, who write laws, grew up in a time when it was the demon weed. They don't want to give into it until they can do like the Big Short.
But they deliver you weed and narcotics from the pharmacy to your door for free from Walgreens and whatever, how could you not get a weed delivery, dude?
Because the pharmaceutical industry has already figured out how to take their profits, and they have their position on it. That no one has figured out how to take a position on cannabis. It's like that scene from The Big Short. The reason why they wouldn't cash the doctor out of his position is because Morgan Stanley needed to take a position of their own to not fold up before everyone. So the city hasn't figured out the proper tax base for it.
Look, and here's traditional weed delivery in New York City. It's a guy on a bike with a knapsack.
That's it.
With
800 won pot.
30 different containers, and he'd come to your apartment on 30 minutes notice, right? We already had delivery of weed, right?
Sure. Right.
And not only that, if you want him to bring anything you want with him, a
Bagels?
lobster thermidor and a date, they could bring that too. It just costs money. So you could get everything delivered the whole time, I bet, in New York City. But now you're saying, like, if you're in Colorado and it's a pandemic, I figure you call over there like the liquor store, like a deli, and they deliver it to you.
No,
no delivery of weed.
You would think logic would
no
play a
delivery
role,
of weed in America? Is that true?
No, oh, well, not here. Probably in Oklahoma.
In America for sure.
Where do you get delivery?
California.
California.
Yeah, Cali, they've always, they were all about convenience. Thing is, it will be all, this, the one thing that this whole bullshit pandemic thing has done is made convenience be the most important thing for everybody as far as like in availability. That's it. And so when it comes to like,
but look, it's true. For example, you want to drive your car, emit some carbon, find parking on a rainy day, go 16 miles to your local Best Buy to get the USB cable you need for your phone or something. And you go there, they have exactly one of them. It's $29. You go check out. You get in your car and you drive back home. Add to the pandemic, you meet all these strangers along the way. Or you go online where there's 600 different varieties. They're $4 and they also come the same day. So I don't know what book I missed, but that sounds to me like that Best Buy big box store is done.
Yeah.
No one's ever going there again.
Yeah.
And so for weed invented home delivery, bro. Drug dealers deliver to your house, period.
Yeah, we've always been home delivery.
Covertly, without asking any questions, quietly, transactional, nobody complains. How can you not have weed delivered when it's legal? It's part of it.
Well, Peter, we're going to need you to run for city council in Boulder. So you just get over here.
But there's no reason you couldn't deliver. You're already buying it. You're proving the trade. Listen, here's how you get stuff delivered. How I get everything delivered. By the way, I've never bought anything on Amazon. I've never been on Facebook, and I haven't been into a retail store in like 32 years. I just don't do that shit. So if I'm going to get, let's say, something that was undeliverable, like 10 gallons of Prestone antifreeze I want today, you call Uber or a driver. You'd say, go pick this shit up for me and bring it over for $20 an hour. You get a delivery. It's no big deal, right?
Make your own delivery.
Sweet. It comes in a little bag. It's very light. It weighs, let me think, 1 ounce.
Wait, what?
How could a guy not deliver it to you?
What is this he talking about? In a bag, an ounce? Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, whatever.
You're using too much logic.
It's too logical. Exactly. I was just going to say, you're speaking logical. That doesn't make any sense on the show.
Again, I just didn't know you didn't get weed delivery. I thought you had like Instacart for that. It's illegal.
No,
California does, right?
Cali
Isn't
does.
it? It's our old friend's business, right? I won't say his name. I'll say his initials, JP, who used to work at Ease. And that was...
they worked with all the different... It was just like a food delivery.
I bet he's busy delivering weed. I'll bet he's busy delivering weed during a pandemic.
They went out of business, didn't they? They went belly up, right? They went belly up.
Weren't they funded by Blitz Aaron or somebody like that? Anyway, they just were victim of bad business decisions, but they still were doing $500,000 a day.
Bad decisions. So.
Alex, you good? Love it, baby. You like what I did today?
Love it even more.
Great.
So Chaz, what you got in the works now? Obviously, like I said, you're doing art all the time, but is there any internal shows going on or any events that online or weirdness?
Honestly, there was a bunch of stuff that piled up that's all been postponed to next year. So we just realized that the perfect formula right now with stuff here at home, we're just making as much work as we can. Peter sells it, we make work, send it to Peter sells it.
Even better, right?
Can I tell you, I think, by the way, you got that line from me. Make a lot of work. That's what I say, right?
Keep making work.
There's a few interesting little bits coming up in the next few months, and maybe something that Chaz wants to keep maybe a bit more under wraps, but in terms of what we're doing beyond the studio, beyond the canvas. There's a few things bubbling up, and we're quite excited. And
things bubbling up.
Yeah, we're quite keen to bring it up, but not getting too excited.
We don't want to talk too much now about like the beginnings of an animation. We don't want to talk too much about that right now.
No one wants to mention that kind of stuff. But there is other stuff bubbling up.
Beginnings of an animation.
Let me give the London police a plug. Let's get right down to brass tacks here. I'm just going to tell you, besides I love the guys, the dog videos, the handcuffing together, everything that they've done, and I love them personally as human beings, especially Chinny Bob. Chaz, not as much. But here's what I say to the real world about the London police. You know, Damien Hirst is still riffing on Mickey Mouse. Cause is riffing on SpongeBob, you know. The London police are not riffing on those characters. They did to me what is the most valuable thing of all. They invented their own characters.
The lads.
Yes. The lads and Barry Sedimall and the whole crew. I think it's so interesting. It's so innovative. Like the South Park characters, these guys could carry any story. I'm looking at Barry Sedimall right now in his rowboat cruising around the sinking Statue of Liberty. Well, if that doesn't say it all, and that was a pre-pandemic painting, by the way,
there you go.
That they're ripe for, in the most wonderful of ways, children's books, animation, adult animation, everything SpongeBob ever did, everything Mickey Mouse ever did, in a new, smarter, cultural way, infused with cannabis, of course. And just think that these guys have it all. I mean, there's very few people that have ever invented the whole character, the whole team. They just have done it naturally. And so I just love the London police. I think their future is just... It's just the sky's the limit. I could stop everything I'm doing, just be CEO of London Police, hire 30 people, and everything I just mentioned would happen. There's an animated series, there's a real series, there's behind the scenes, there's the making of, there's a podcast, there's a live thing, there's a movie, there's artwork being sold, there's prints being sold, there's merch being sold, like just
weed to be smoked.
Because they have it all. They have it all. They have it all. Through the happenstance of their weirdness and their eccentricity came this beautiful thing. That's what I think about the London police. I give them the highest marks for invention
of their weirdness.
We're lucky we have someone like Peter, his position and his belief in us. You know, that he thinks that. So hopefully there's a happy marriage there, and we're
already happy. We're already happy. We just don't have sex as much anymore. That's the kind of marriage we have. It's like a sexless but wonderful marriage.
Actually, I'm gasping to get on a plane and come and see you, but
but I never hear you call me Peter. I have two questions. One is, I feel like Chinny Bob has a different accent today. What's going on there? You sound like a different person. Did you assume a new identity? And you look a little like a terrorist with an accent. What's going on?
You and Adam should get along well.
This is my one question.
The terrorist look is just genetic. There's nothing you can do about that kind of stuff. But
he called me Tungsten.
Oh, I think we lost him.
Did we lose them?
We only lost the host. That shouldn't be a problem.
They never call me Peter. They all call me Tungsten. Tungsten.
We got a song.
They sign emails. Hello, Tungsten.
You want the song, Tungsten? You want to hear the song?
Yeah.
I need a little Peter in my tummy. As the tungsten blue, boom, me, Tony, and you, boom, boom, on a Saturday afternoon. Need a little Peter in my tummy, as the tungsten feel, boom, boom, that's how I feel, boom, boom, on a Saturday afternoon. There you go.
Wow. That's the first and worst song ever written about me. I'm so honored. I'm really honored. First and worst. I might do a painting called First and Worst.
Don't you remember? I sent it to you about a year ago. Me and Chinny were wasted, so I had tequila balanced on the side of my head, something like this.
Oh, that sounds bad. That's way better.
And I sang it to you, and Chinny was there coming in between. You never texted nothing back. I'm sure you appreciated it. There was no love back, Tungsten. The Tungsten The tungsten.
Is that your recollection of that moment?
Well, let's bring.
Wow.
It's the moment.
I don't remember it like that. I remember having an orgasm.
There you go. Now I feel better about it.
I just didn't tell you. It was a silent one.
Sounds like everybody was satisfied there.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do our shout outs and move on to, we have to do our pay the bills and stuff like that. So I'm gonna have.
Yeah, we got to go anyway.
That's perfect. No, it's cool. You're not allowed to go out of the house. You know that you're not.
Chaz and Bob, it's so good to see you guys. Let's chat on the phone one day. You're only in Amsterdam.
Do it.
Cool.
Adam, thanks for having us on, bro.
Love you guys. Nice to see you, man.
Nice to meet you
Nice
guys.
to have this surrounded by your artwork. What a crazy happenstance of chances of that are. 1 in a billion.
Respect to Adam for that, and he's got a little canvassy wambassy coming his way soon, that's for sure.
I'm looking forward to it.
Our whole story is so weird and eccentric right now. I can't even tell you. I have pictures, and I'll show you in person. True, right?
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Thanks a lot. It's great to be on the Pete Tunney show. Thanks a lot.
Love you, brother.
Exactly,
Yeah, exactly.
How do I come off to you, by the way? Let's see. Take care, guys.
Push some buttons.
Good luck, everything.
Peace out, Chinny. All right, that's our boys over there in Amsterdam from London Police. Check
Can
them
I
out.
go now? Is that what you're saying?
You can whenever you want. You're free to go whenever you want, but we obviously want to, do it in a nice way. We're not just trying to kick you to the curb.
Kicking me to the curb is nice for me.
But I know that it's the Peter Tunney show has come to an end, my friend. But if you're in Miami and you want to check out the Peter Tunney experience,
You can't. But you can call me and make an appointment.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one of the great things right now is if you come to the Wynwood Walls, which always has 10,000 people there and so much hubbub, it's just me and you. Dunn and I did it. We just walked through the walls quietly. It's like Michael Jackson shopping. They closed the whole museum for you, right?
Yeah.
So like just to be there in this moment, pandemic, protest, election, everything, you're there. And no matter who you are or where you've come from, you walk around those walls during this time, it feels like a sacred spiritual place, right? Like more than ever,
100%.
because the 111 guys that have done a mural for us there are all activists, humanitarians, environmental warriors, weed smokers. It's a wonderful group of guys. I'll just say it, in the Wynwood Walls artists, there are no Trump supporters. I'll just say it like that, right? Whether you like that or not, that's the way it is. Shepard, Ferry, Veals, Ron English, come on. It's all these guys. Mm-hmm. So when you walk around the walls now, you realize like what they were saying before the pandemic and the protest is true, Mm-hmm. And so it has an extra layer of gravitas to go in there now when it's empty and you realize, oh my God, like every one of these murals is speaking to this moment so clearly. And anywhere you turn your head, you're getting hit with it. Listen, I've been there for 10 years. It's an amazing experience. My favorite experience in the Wynwood Walls is not our Plaza with 10,000 people in there. In fact, that's my least favorite. But this, like walking around with Alex and Adam and just, maybe every other day, one person comes and visits me and we walk around. It's the best. So if you're in Miami, connect with one of us. I take one visitor a day through the Wynwood Walls. It's cool.
Be that lucky person.
You get a free cigar with them.
You can be that lucky person. Right to the Adam Dunn Show at 1-800.
If you roll in and you telling me that done deal, and you saw him on the Adam Dunn Show, I'm sure you might even get.
Well, I mean, if you just Googled me, you get my phone number. I got scammed the other day. I went to the dermatologist. She prescribed me some skin cream. Tell you how fucked up this hacked up world is. So I was supposed to go pick up my prescription at Walgreens, which is something I've never really done. And I didn't pick up this prescription, but I wanted to. And about 2 days after, I got a text from Walgreens that said, your prescription for your skin cream is here. I got a phone call from someone in St. Louis, Missouri, calling me from, I think it was called like True Pharmacy or something like that. It had the name True in there. And she said, this is from True Pharmacy. We're just checking on your prescription for your skin cream at Walgreens. And in order for you to pick it up, you just have to confirm with us your date of birth, your social security number, and this stuff. And I said, couldn't I just go to Walgreens and pick it up? Like, suppose I don't give you my date of birth, because I don't really like giving out my date of birth and all this stuff, my phone number. over the phone. She said, I don't blame you, but this is how we do it. I've been asked to contact you. So as I'm doing that, I Google up this thing. There's 10,000 comments on there that this is a total scam. Right. It's a phishing scam. You know what they're looking to do? Take all of my money. That's what they want to do, get your credit cards and stuff. However, what I thought is, I'm an artist. In every book and anywhere that's ever anything written about me, it gives your date of birth. Right. Like in your bio, right? My phone number's on the website. Like they had it all anyway. But in any event, imagine you're getting hacked for skin cream. I mean, how do they know that?
Peter, who was your first grade teacher again?
My first grade teacher?
Yeah.
Mrs. Geiger.
Everyone write that down. Mrs. Geiger.
Oh, shit.
And,
I forgot that.
And what street did you go? Was it Sanford Avenue?
Right. I'm not seeing anything else. Sanford Towers is all I want to know. Sanford Towers Day for us is going to be like Rosebud. I'm just going to be there at the end. I'm going to go, Sanford Towers, apartment 6E. That's where the safe in the floor is.
Sounds awesome.
I wonder if it's still there.
We covered some ground today, guys.
We always do. I mean, that's the thing. I already knew after my whole thing was just nailing you down for an hour plus is already good enough.
Do you do this every day?
Every Friday.
Every Friday. Oh, good. Otherwise, it'd be exhausting.
No, every day is like, I think you kill yourself.
No, he does this every day.
I don't
except
think
it's only
MTI
filmed on
appreciate
Fridays.
Every day, right, MTA?
Yeah.
Yeah. Not at the pay scale he's got right now. I'd be like, that would not, if it was 7 times the amount he's getting paid right now, it would still be 0. So I'd be like, that is not doing so good. No, we do a little bit of that.
Wow. So you know what? I should do, I'll tell you what I learned today. I want to tell my big takeaway from today.
That you want to have your own podcast.
Thank you to Alex. I have one big takeaway today. You know what it is? I realized how fucking easy it is to do a podcast and how great I am at it. That I do your fucking Tunney podcast. It's called PFT. The world's so empty without me. I used to actually go by PFT for a long time, and then I sobered up and I went back to my real name.
If there's one thing we can inspire people to realize, that we set the bar so low that even you can do a fucking podcast.
I tell you, I learned that today. It's unbelievable. You got MTI Mike at 0. You got Dave, like some homeless guy. It's easy.
He is just like a homeless guy out there too. It's perfect. Perfect analogy. Perfect.
Check your WhatsApp.
That up because I love homeless guys, and that's what we're here fighting for, right? So I don't want to say that in any derogatory way. But Dave, take a shower. That's all I'm saying.
Dave has not left his house in like fucking 4 months
That's
now. That's
not true.
Like that. So he just showers are totally optional at this point.
You know,
the 100
I lived in the Crowbar for 1 year.
It's not true.
And there was no shower in there. I lived in this nightclub, and I mastered the 5-gallon bucket bath. Here's what you do.
The Russian.
Half of the bucket is warm water, and you stand in it, and you shower.
I'm taking notes. Go ahead.
You dump the bucket down. It's called the bucket bath. I lived in there for 321 days, so I did like 5 of those.
I think that's a nugget. You might want to throw the bucket shower up as a nugget. Oh,
did you see the WhatsApp I sent you guys?
But you missed my punchline. I lived there for 321 days. I took like 5 showers, so like I know.
You got it down.
You have to do the math.
You got it down. Yeah. All right, Peter. Well,
good. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to go have a cigar. I didn't smoke. Thank you. Yeah, hey, Dave, nice meeting you. We could talk another time because I like talking to you.
Get my contact information from Adam.
Switch you guys up. I'm going to link you up. Don't you worry.
Good. Let's all live to fight another day with this great jubilant spirit. I'll leave you with this,
Jubilant
whatever
spirit.
You believe in, God, the universe, where you are. I don't believe that this whole thing that we talked about, from aliens to here to there to everything, that this whole construct is so that we could just all be so depressed and fucking kill ourselves because there's divorce, deceit, disease, all of it. I just don't believe that's what it would be. I mean, there's no reason that I should be depressed. I should be elated and kissing the ground every day because I should have been dead about 1,000 times. So I think it's meant for us to rise up and be joyous. Right now, this is kind of an important subject. It's kind of like uncool to be joyous, like cracking jokes at a funeral or something, But this is a global pandemic. So maybe no pandemic jokes yet. That's too soon. But I just want to say, anyone that's listening here, you have a license to be joyous. Dude, be joyous. It's what we're here for. We got to find some buoyancy in this. If you get me and we all go down, what the fuck are we even fighting for, man? What the fuck are you fighting for? if everyone's going to be depressed and all down over it. Henry David Thoreau said, have you ever met anyone who hasn't experienced death, divorce, disease, disinterest? He said, neither have I. So why say, why me? And I'm trying. I'll tell you, it's not easy. It's a daily bipolar roller coaster. Because at 9 a.m, you're thinking, I feel pretty strong. I'm making art in the pandemic. My wife is good. I had a great breakfast. Kids are in the pool. Yay. And like at 2 o'clock, I was like, I should probably fucking kill myself. This shit is going to end badly anyway. And most people I know they've said to me on several phone calls where I got the term like daily bipolar 5 different times. That's kind of what this pandemic, protest, election, craziness, divisiveness. It's not a smooth road.
Peter, I call it.
But we battle, man. We battle. I'm battling to stay joyous, crack jokes, and be funny.
I call it COVID.
You got to remember,
Asperger's
laughing matters.
syndrome.
Humor is the most important thing. Even if you're doing 30 years in jail, ask any of them. I did. Guy said, humor saved my life. That's right. Anywhere you go where there's real horror show, there's humor. Because that's all you've got left. You got to cling to that. And so if we give that up and we all get serious, dude, that ain't right. So I'm standing for joyousness and humor and off-color jokes.
That's us.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, my friend. You forgot puns. You forgot puns, but that would be the only thing. Lots of puns. More puns, please. All right. Thank you, Peter. 100%. And thank you.
Thank you, guys. I enjoyed spending time with you. Hey, we should do it like this from now on. That's cool.
No.
That'll be the outer space edition. All right.
So rule number 1 is you got to put in your Miami kit a second set of fucking headphones.
There we go. No, I need a splitter. Still works.
You go to Hawaii, you don't bring your dongle or whatever it is. You go to Denver, what you forget and had to drive back to the farm one day, you had to grab that. You go to Miami and you don't bring a splitter. Come on.
Come on.
I blame Mark for not preparing you properly. It's Mark's fault. He should have you prepped.
I was supposed to be there last week.
That was actually the whole idea. We're going to have a whole studio set up, and it's going to be awesome. And I didn't have to think about it until the last minute. And then I was like, I don't think what would happen, though? If you were out there with him, Mark, you'd be stuck. You'd have been out there. You'd have given up your next 2 years of vacation. Oh, he would have been sent home. Go home, young man. I wouldn't have him lose his job. And speaking of not losing our job, let's try to get these shout-outs in order. Because that's what we have to do.
NewMillenniumNutrients.com.
Whoa.
New Millennium Nutrients. And if you remember last week, all we had to do was ask Blues Kid, do you guys know New Millennium? Bam, the Newts. Yep. He said the Newts. You saw that, right? Because they are getting out there. One thing you can say about New Millennium is it's easy to use. It gives great results, and it's ready to plug and play for any size system, from a tent to a 1,000 light operation. It's up to you. Dosatron ready, all that. So it makes it easy for you as a grower to just tap in and start growing properly today, right? And that's at newmillenniumnutrients.com, of course.
Yep.
Done deal. Oh, don't forget the done deal.
Speaking of done deal.
Should we start off with that announcement, or do we need to do that at the end? What are we doing? Done deal.
What announcement?
Yes, Dave. Did you get that?
What did I miss?
Huh?
Oh, yeah. We're launching that tonight. Sweet.
Thank you, sir. So should we announce that? Yes, out of the gate?
We got to do it right now because we don't want them to go to the wrong spot. So everything is now on a new, what we call it, the Adam Dunn portal, right? So instead of visiting all these various vendors and going that way, we'd like you to visit adsdundeals.com. So that's adsdundeals.com. Believe it or not, adsdundeal.com was taken. So,
I can't believe it. How could that be?
Right? It was taken.
Ads. See, the funny thing is ADS is ads, right? So it could be some weird advertisement thing too, right?
There we go. So check us out there. It'll help keep us everything centered and direct you to the right places. And it also let us know if we're actually doing our job and you guys actually, we can't just rely on Rosin Dogs to buy $9,000 worth of coffee every month.
I know.
So
it's only going to last so long. But what is good is we're gonna get everything centered. It literally went up today. So right now I think we've just got some
it's a
merch
soft
up there, right?
launch. Soft launch. I don't even know if it was functioning. I tried to get in. And yeah, it's up now.
Soft launch.
There we go. It's a soft launch.
Yeah.
But you'll enjoy it. Little quick.
Okay, but it is coming soon.
And there's going to be naked photos of Mark coming soon on the site as well. So make sure you tune in for stuff like that. So it'll be good. But if you live in the Denver area and you enjoy edible cannabis, you really have to try any of the Incredibles products, the chocolates, the mints, the gummies, the shatter. Right? I don't think they're doing rosin yet. They're BHO based, but it's fire. They control all their own inputs. They are consistent products, start to finish. I don't know what I would have done without 50 milligram Incredibles gummies, because it really, 245 days, I have had probably more than 300 of their gummies. So it is a great product. Chocolates are amazing. Great company, consistent. You got to give them a try. Then you go to one of their sister companies or tangential companies called True Pura CBD, and that's where you enter the Dunn deal when you're buying from them off of our new website.
Bam.
And they will ship CBD across left to right coast. Okay, so if you have a family friend, anyone going through a difficult time, send them some CBD. I got a call from a buddy's mom in New York City who was having trouble sleeping, and I had some of the CBD tincture sent to her, and she told me it was the greatest thing she's ever taken. She sleeps like a baby again. She says she hasn't slept this well in 30 years. So if you've got a loved one, get them hooked up on True Pura. It's a fantastic product. So it's True Pura CBD. Enter Dunn deal, and you know how to do that. But you know what the beauty of it is Incredibles, you can actually get the Dunn deal on Incredibles if you go to Green Farms Med in Colorado Springs, and they are doing specials every day now. You got to check them out on Instagram. I don't know what, remember that line, Ray Kroc, I don't believe you know what industry you're in, but JW is an amazing grower of cannabis in no-till organic. But I don't think he realizes how good a photographer he is, because the photos he puts out from his garden are the stuff of legend. I mean, you can count the trikes. It's fantastic. His products are amazing.
It helps if you have good-looking weed. It helps if you have some good-looking weed to take the photos of, right?
The tincture, that 3,000 milligram.
They're putting out fire.
Holy shit. 2,500 milligram.
2,500?
Yeah. It's amazing. And they make their version of Rick Simpson oil called activated solventless oil, ASO. And I am getting feedback from people who are taking it that it does great things. So you got to head to Green Farms Med in Colorado Springs. Tell them we sent you. Ask for the Dunn deal. They will treat you like a member of the family. Right? But then if you're a big farmer or a small farmer, and you want the best quality organic inputs, you got to go to Build a Soil. They're the gold standard for anything you need to run a garden, from one lamp to probably 500, 1,000. They'll get it to you. They ship pallets of soil anywhere. They sell mushrooms. They sell every vegetable, every piece of produce you can imagine. It's buildasoil.com. It's 1-800, or is it 888-877-SOIL?
855-877-SOIL. Hey, whoa, jumped in there. Woo.
Yeah. I needed some help. I asked for
877-SOIL. Yes, sir. Yep. Too much.
So that's buildasoil.com. Follow them on Instagram. They're a great company, great people. They just did a whole big remodel. Their facility is massive. They're a good company. You want to patronize them. But if you also want to learn how to blow glass, and you're interested in blowing glass, you got to check out our newest sponsor, Chris Hubbard at Hubbard Glass.
Yes, sir.
We have the link up on the site right now. I always pronounce it wrong. Patreon. I want to say Praetorium for some reason.
Yeah, you're weird. That's why.
Yeah, I know. But Patreon, it's only $8. Okay? Everybody out there, again, we cannot rely on Rosin Dogs to buy 500 subscriptions. So give it a try. $8. If you really like it, you can purchase his $80 a month subscription, and he's actually going to send you a monthly little piece of glass. We're going to. Oh,
did you talk to him? You got to talk to him.
We exchanged a little. We're going to talk to him and see if we can't get something going where they keep your $80 a month, but in 6 months they send you a piece really worthy. We'll see. I'll talk to Chris about it. But listen, he's a great glass blower. He sent us a couple of fire rigs that I'm still hoping to get going on my end because I just don't. I got to find a little electronic nail for it. That torch thing. I'm going to set my house on fire, so I'm not going to do that. But Hubbard Glass, you go to patreon.com/Hubbard Glass. Come on, everybody, right now, $8. You can fork it over. It's very worth it. You'll learn something. And then Rosin Dogs, you should call in and do this ad with us because it's we have to thank you for it. But listen, the best coffee I have ever tried is Ozo Coffee. And you go to ozocoffee.com, you enter Dunn Deal at checkout, you're going to get 20% off your order. It is fantastic coffee. We had Justin on last week, and listen, everything he said is true. The farmers he buys from are small family farmers in places that you're just not going to be traveling to anytime soon. So it's a way to sort of experience where they are and drink the coffee they're drinking because he roasts it up here in Boulder, and it is fire coffee. So you got to go to ozocoffee.com, enter Dunn Deal at checkout, ozocoffee.com, and you just enjoy it, and don't have them grind the bean.
No, never.
Please don't do that. Get yourself a burr grinder. In fact, they have one on Costco.com right now. You can set the grind, the coarseness or the fineness of it.
Look at you go.
Do a nice pour over. Listen, they're great people. That's Justin and Nolan. Nolan is the one that goes around like he's the strain hunter for coffee, puts the backpacks on and goes and crawls through the jungles. But listen, ozocoffee.com, you won't be disappointed.
You will not.
No, but if you're in Spain and you want to visit one of Adam's oldest friends, you go to Treasure Barcelona. Oh, it's closed now.
It's locked down. Yeah. Well, you can still check them out online, and if you're in the area, you can sort of knock on the door and pretend like you're, look longingly through the glass.
You can't see through the glass from that side, though.
I said longingly. I didn't say you could see anything. I just hope.
Sorry, Petey. We'll give you an extra long shout out when you're open again. 100%. But if you're back from Spain and you're in Denver, Pueblo, or Colorado Springs, you go to Apothecary Extracts.
What do you got? Oh, am we stacking up? No, I've been gone for a couple weeks. How many?
I have sour diesel today.
All right.
Oh no, Adam, you don't have anything. I smoked all yours, man. You go to Miami on a private jet. We smoke your ambrosia.
I expect nothing less.
Yeah.
I expect nothing less.
I got sour diesel tonight in honor of I saw him on the chat group. Hello, Mr. Bro.
Bro's in today?
Bro.
I got a big old 4-gram jar of GMO ambrosia. Bam.
Fuck, you do. I don't have a 4-gram jar of anything like that. What the fuck? Holy shit. 4-gram jars. They make 4-gram jars?
Yeah, they do. This one I made on my own, but they normally do have 4-gram jars.
Put that on Adam's account and get us 4.
Oh, sweet, dude.
Okay.
Awesome. But yeah, if you live in Denver, Pueblo, or Colorado Springs, you can hit up Apothecary Farms for some fire concentrates.
Yeah, and you have to mention the Dunn Deal, and please mention it when you walk in and you're talking to them. Don't drop it on them afterwards, because they have their line of ambrosia and an infused joint for $25. Okay, listen, I know you're going to want to find their most expensive rosin and then ask for the joint and say you want the Dunn Deal, but that's not what we have right now. What we have is $25. Gets you a gram of ambrosia and an infused joint.
Yeah.
You can't beat that. I mean, that's a nice evening.
Get out of there.
Uh-oh, someone's in trouble.
Get off the show.
I went in there today and she didn't know it was me.
Come on now,
And
Nick.
she tried to give me just the done deal.
Nick,
I
please.
was like, oh,
No. Hold on a second.
You're done, so.
I need the real done deal. I need the done deal.
For the done deal.
What up, Nick? See, that's all you have to do is talk to him and he runs off.
Yeah, especially if you go to the Denver one to hit up the done deal. They know me. They see me every week. So
nice.
So wait a second, Adam. Same deal, right? They get a picture of Mark in the wild, pack of seeds.
Mark in the wild?
Why not? Why not?
Sure.
Sure. So if you're back from Denver, Pueblo, or Colorado Springs after patronizing Apothecary Extracts and you want to make your own oil, your own tinctures.
There's only one place to go.
No, only one place. Extractcraft.com.
Yeah.
For your own tabletop oil, alcohol extraction, which is super easy. One step. Just hit the button and set the temp and you're good to go. Also, you can work with all sorts of other plants. You don't, not just cannabis. So if you have other essential oils that you want to produce, this is the fucking easiest way.
This is great. It's the Adam Dunn show, and then a party breaks out in Miami, right in the same studio room with you.
I know. That's what happens every time.
Yeah.
Can't help it.
Tell him Dave says shut the fuck up.
You can switch to the AirPods now, and it actually cut out a lot of that sound. Like that could be the thing you do now.
Let's see if that works. Let's see.
Yeah. So
if you're gonna get one of the machines, the Ito Pro, which is the big one, and the Source Turbo, you're going to need a solvent, and you're gonna want that solvent to be 420 extractor. So you go to 420extractor.com and you can buy up to 5 gallons at a time. It is fire solvent. I think it's like 190 proof. So it works fantastic in making your own oils. So you go to 420 extractor. While you're there, I believe they're even making some hand sanitizer right now. So fantastic company doing their part. But if you're back after you made your extract and you got your solvent and you just want to sit down and smoke some fire rosin or some, oh, look at that. Oh, Mark, you flatter me, buddy. Or some fire flower, you go to 14erboulder.com. I'm telling you, this batch of DJC
really is awesome.
Fucking amazing. I had nothing to do with the growing of it. I am telling you, it is fucking amazing. It would be amazing even if my face wasn't on the can.
It tastes like grapefruit peels to me. But it's amazing. It tastes really good.
I smoked an ounce in 2 days. Okay, I went through 8 cans. It is fire. Yeah, I just rolled joint after joint. You'll love it. I'll get you some from this batch. It is amazing, and there's a whole bunch of crosses coming out there. So my son Jonah, his dog is Mac. And they're crossing DJC with cookies, and they're calling it Mac Daddy. I thought they should put Jonah on the can because he's the dog Mac's daddy, but it's an alien can. But anyway, I digress. Fire. So go to 14erboulder.com.
Oh, Jesus.
Place a pre-order.
Now the dogs.
Oh, now the dogs. Place a pre-order. When you get there, there's going to be somebody sitting outside wearing a mask. Approach him or her wearing a mask. Tell them your name. They'll put you in the queue. When it's your time to come in, they'll call you in. Only one person in the store at a time for everyone's safety. You're going to walk in. You're going to pay cash. They're going to give you your pre-order, and you're going to really enjoy it. So head to 14erboulder.com. It's at 28th and Mapleton, between 28th and 30th, across from the YMCA ball fields. And enjoy. Just tell them we sent them. We sent you. No discount there, but do let them know where you heard about them. But if you grow your own flowers, you grow your own vegetables, and you want a fantastic additive for that little fire at the end of the cycle.
Just that little bit, that 5%.
Go to fishheadfarms.com and you buy their fish shit. And this is where you enter Done Deal, and you're going to get 25% off your order. And it just works. Okay. I don't grow cannabis. I'm bad at it. I'm really good at smoking it, but I'm bad at growing it. But we did grow some lettuce, some cucumbers, some squash, some beans, and they were huge. Okay. It really works. If I can grow better vegetables, then you can grow better cannabis with fish shit. And, it is amazing. And it's like I said, it's just simple. It's one product. It's easy on any system that you're using. You can add it to it. So definitely check it out. And that's 25%. So they're the biggest Done Deal on the block right now. Biggest Done Deal on the block. And listen, keep sending us your little Photoshops or your artwork on the fish in a diaper, because that's how they harvest the fish shit. Every fish gets a custom diaper. It's hard. So wait for that. I want the matrix. I want the matrix of fish shit collection. I want that all stacked up. I want it to look techie. That's what I'm looking for. If someone comes up with that, winner. Bam. So we're going to give away 5 liters, and believe it or not, that's $500. So we need a fantastic depiction of a fish in a diaper. You guys have been so creative up until now. Matrix. Keep it up. Matrix diaper. Yeah, but Matrix. That's what I'm waiting for. That's what I'm waiting for. AdamDunnShow.com. Yep. And we will pick a winner. But if you spill any fish shit or your pipe is dripping resin and you need to clean something, Terp Wipes, baby. This product is absolutely amazing. I got them today. Now I have them. It is. It's 4 times the size of an alcohol prep pad. I finished the show last week and it was like... It worked. I finished at the show last week. I was looking around for it, fuck. I knew I had them, and then I went back and it was right next to the coffee machine. I was the last thing I did. But Terp Wipes, the shit. It's a huge amount of huge. Yeah. So you go to terpwipes.com. It's actually terp-wipes.com. Oh. No. And I'm pretty sure you entered Done Deal, and you're going to get 10% off your order. Mine's terpwipes.com. Okay. I'm looking at the package. Package says terp-wipes.com, but good. I'm glad they got terpwipes.com. Enter Done Deal, and you will get a discount. It's a fantastic product. We only have fantastic products. They even have a subscription box if you use them all the time, which I do, and I don't know, I can't live without it, but they do have a subscription box. There you go, terpwipes.com. And taint wipes. Where's Mr. James Bean? Where is he? He threatened to do the news. He was supposed to be all dressed up. He had all these different outfits. Don't get too excited. Stealing my job. Yeah. Where is he? Come on, call in. Nick stole my phone. Nick stole the phone. I can't call it. That was what he was lurking around here for. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree, Adam. He grabbed the phone and ran off. I'm going to start sending him some pictures to the. You can hit up James. You can hit up James. We'll do Illuminar right now. You hit up James. Tell him what's up, because I wanted to switch. I think I was going to say if he's going to do the news, we could switch it where he's last, and then we do the news right into him. Because it's a nice way to, instead of having. All right, Dan. Him and then try to do it. What's that? So I said, okay. So if you need a lamp and you want to grow some of Adam's gear or any of the gear, it's a lamp. Listen, I took lighting in college, and if you called it a bulb, our professor would look at you with these. He wanted to crush your head. It was a lamp. He was like Wolf style. He was pissed. Oh, you know what? We're gonna have to call him back on the air and make nice with him. Yeah, of course. We have no issue. The sound was terrible. That was the problem. We couldn't deal with the worst connection ever. Well, it was. I know what it was. You kept telling him to be quiet, and then as soon as he was talking, we're like, we can't hear you. I know, but that's ironic. But it's not our fault, right? It wasn't our. We didn't say be quiet. We were in the middle of a segment. We just wanted him to hold for a minute so we could finish what we were talking about. How much he talks over shit. I don't know. No, it wasn't even that. Okay. No, he was just pissed. It was his time to be pissed at us. I know. But listen, if you want fantastic lighting products, you need help lamping a garden, you need some design help, anything along the lines of the electronics behind, ballasts, wiring, you got to give the guys at Illuminar a call. Absolutely.
They'll set you up. You give them your dimensions and what you're working with, and they'll build a model for you, tell you exactly what you need. But they have not only LED, but they have HID, double-ended, all depending what state you're in. Like if you're in California, there's no point of buying HIDs because you're going to be redundant. They already are. If you're in a state which allows it, it's a great time to still be able to use that technology because probably in the near future, you're not going to be able to use it. So get on it while you can. But you should also talk to them. Obviously, use the Dunn deal. This is the time where the Dunn deal can shine further and brighter than ever. Because if you have yourself like a 100+ light system, and you start talking about saving big chunks off of that, it's like, whoa, those add up quick. Like there's a nice $20,000 Dunn deal, or a fucking. The more you spend, the more you
spend, the more you save. But listen,
exactly.
Lamping a room can get expensive, and especially in this time right now, could be difficult for people to make ends meet. So if there's a reason why you need a lamp and you're going to put it to good use, please send us an email to dundeal@adamdunnshow.com. Put Illuminar in the subject line and tell us why you need that lamp. We pick a winner the last Friday of every month, and I'm starting to see people we've sent lamps to tagging us on Instagram. So we're not bullshitting you. They send out a lamp every month for us, and now they're sending out their new LED. And if you're in California, you're going to need
which is their clone, LED. Their clone model.
You just
and the thing is with their clone with the good. Well, the good thing is with a good clone light, you're going to produce good clones, which are they're going to produce good plants. So it's where you want it to start. Like there's no point of having shitty clones going into a brand new room with great new lights, and it's the opposite. To start you off with what is it, the IL3? Is it the IL3 or what is it called? Do you remember the model number?
I don't.
IL3 bar LED.
What is it? That's it. That's the one. It's looks like we got ourselves. So go to illuminarlighting.com, check them out. Done deal on checkout. But I can see that we have James B. Man on the scene calling in.
He doesn't have his video on.
No, he's going to jump in a second because he's going to start doing Seeds Here Now, which is now taking in the final position of our sponsorships because we want to have the rollout. Yeah, the cleanup crew. Cleanup crew, what you going to do? Oh, shit.
Turn your phone sideways, James.
It's okay. We'll get that dialed in.
He froze.
No. James B. Man on the scene for us.
There we go.
Nice.
Hello. I have not been partying with a bunch of hookers.
Put the microphone inside your mouth. We heal you better that way.
Nope. I have not been partying with a bunch of hookers in Oregon.
Good.
Oh, my God. Yeah, you're in Oregon. Now. Jesus Christ. I'm
live on the scene here in Oregon. Yeah,
live.
I'm live.
Well, so wait, as soon as they legalized drugs in Oregon, you went back?
Cocaine, motherfucker. Cocaine. Goddamn right I did. Give me some tabs.
Wow.
Popping those fucking things like that. Oh, man. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit before. I mean, we haven't even done Seeds Here Now, but I guess we can, roll into the news first, or what's the best mode?
Well, before we get started, can we just give appreciation to the amazing internet connection you have calling in?
It's 1987.
That's some high speed right there. Then what is that?
Max Headroom.
Dial up?
Once again. Of course.
Yeah.
Come on.
What is the connection not good?
Are you doing your own news?
No, finish your text. Go ahead. We'll wait.
Is this on? Are we recording?
Yeah,
we are live. We are live.
The brown cow. I was not partying with this. Okay, so the news as I know it, as for today. Last week we talked about all the 4 states legalizing. Well, every ballot that was on the bill passed. Everything passed. That's just a nugget. Now, New Jersey, Arizona, Montana have all approved legalization of cannabis. The other states, South Dakota, is on track to do a similar thing. Excuse me. Breaking news. Now, in Mississippi, medicinal cannabis has been approved as well. 4 referendums took the question of legalization. Took 4 states in the United States. Historic Historic move. So 2012, legalization has been approved in 14 U.S. states. The number could add to 15. In addition, Oregon. Oregon. Oregon, they voted for non-incrimination of all drugs. Okay, that means this here. Means that right there. Oh, these guys legal now. They're just going to charge you $100. Magic mushrooms, anything. Psilocybin. So the capital DC has approved the non-criminalization of psychedelics as well. So go DC.
Go DC. So what's the DC? Do you have the numbers in Oregon for the? Because I know I got. There was a list of all the amounts. Do you have that list of like what you're allowed to have? I know there's 40 tabs of acid I saw. It was an interesting number.
Yeah, I don't know the numbers. I just know I get a good deal on them. When they come through, you can get you can get like a 10 strip for like $15. It's pretty good. So, you still taste the acid on that one, man.
All right, I think I got some weights here. No, okay, heroin 1 gram or less. News. Cocaine 2 grams or less. Methamphetamine 2 grams or less. MDMA ecstasy less than a gram or 5 pills. LSD less than 40 user units. Psilocybin less than 12 grams. Methadone less than 40 user units. And oxycodone less than 40 pills, tablets, or capsules.
Wow.
It's funny how they have the 40 as one and then like five pills when it comes to ecstasy or something like that. It's like James is all over the place.
He's going to take all of that right now.
Yeah, right?
I know. No,
which one? Whoa, cameraman. God damn it.
Hey.
So okay, all states that were on the ballot passed.
Everything passed.
That is awesome, of course. Yes. And so basically drugs win the election.
Jersey was the most interesting one.
Drugs and cannabis was the winner.
Jersey, was for
it's still to be decided. We're still doing a recount in some states, so we have to wait for those results to come through. Because 60% of the time you're right, 100% of the time.
Well, put your hand on the scale, James Bean. Come on.
Well, I'm looking for the Bible.
Come on, put your hand on the scale.
No. Which scale? The scale's busy right now. It's covered in cocaine.
Cocaine.
Woo! Okay. Uh-oh. Oh. Yeah.
So
I'm just wondering how necessary the beard and the
Jersey. Jersey.
So necessary.
It's for when they take the videos of me. Jersey was nice. They passed with their taxes going to be 6.26%, with an increase of 2% only to try to stop the black market and all of its doings, unlike its fellow California, which is 28.26%. So
Colorado 35.5%.
Right. Yes. So Jersey they're going to try to cut into the black market. Jersey.
Interesting.
South Dakota leapfrogs the whole thing. So instead of doing, decrim and then medicinal and then legal, nope, they just jumped into did medicinal and legal this year. So that's very interesting.
Well, at least they included medicinal and they didn't try to just go rec and forget about medicinal, because that at least has there'll be hopefully some cost break and or quantity or whatever the advantage is towards the rec. I'm sure it'll be needed,
Yeah, well, like I said, 6% is much nicer than 28% that some of you guys play. And 35 in Colorado, that's crazy.
That's 22% nicer.
which is such a not a Jersey thing. I mean, you'd think it'd be the other way around, where they would have figured out how to squeeze even more taxes out of it, I guess, especially being next to New York, which
they're going for volume, Adam.
Don't believe everything you see or hear.
We're going for volume.
And don't believe everything you see or hear too. So there's probably something behind the woodwork.
Right.
Well, it'll be 6.2%, and that'll be the state tax. But then every local jurisdiction will have to add their own tax. So we'll see what happens.
So while you partake there.
There's no poison on this show. Get that poison the fuck out of here.
Sorry.
It's medicinal now.
Isn't that medicinal?
Medicinal cocaine.
There's no medicinal cocaine.
Medicinal cocaine 2024.
Poison.
We're starting
Poison.
It's
as long as it's 2 grams or less, though, bro.
Woo! I'll tell you what.
All right. While James is recovering, South Dakota legalized medicinal cannabis, right? DC decriminalized psychedelics. South Dakota created a recreational program. We just discussed Oregon, Jersey, Mississippi legalized cannabis. Montana brought it back. They were legal for a while. And Arizona. How about that? Arizona legalizes cannabis.
What do you mean brought it back?
Well, because they had a medical program that went defunct, and then they brought back recreational cannabis.
Yeah.
So that's
they have the worst law.
Opening recreational.
I drove to Montana in 2009, and they had an alleged medical program there, and it was like I had to meet some guy at a street corner. You know, it was terrible.
Sounds like the Peter Tunney delivery system right there.
Also, so South Dakota is kind of a special case because they did both medical and recreational on the same night. They passed both of them on the same night.
Yep.
Yeah.
Those guys are cray.
Yeah. Cray.
I believe I broke with that news earlier.
Alleged medical program there.
Yeah.
And it was like I had to meet some.
Turn that off.
Oh, wow. What's going on over there? What is going on over here?
Chat room.
Why? He can't stop?
He can't stop. He's addicted to the chat room.
Anyways, go on.
Breaking news. There's no breaking news.
Breaking news. So,
breaking news?
on our friend Duke Diamond.
Oh, yes. Tell us.
Please.
So he believes that should be out in the spring. Said maybe March, April, May sometime. So that's always good news. Also, Soulfire, who you should be having on shortly.
Right now.
He made
he's coming in hot. He's coming in hot.
That's what I was texting Dave. Thank you.
Okay. It wasn't just comic relief.
No. Soulfire, anyhow. Okay. So Soulfire had donated 100 packs of Free the Duke. Free the Duke strain.
Whoop, whoop.
Yep. And we sold 100 packs at $100, and so that's 10 G's. And I sent the check over to his wife yesterday. I got a copy of it, put it up online. So that's a donation from Soulfire to Duke that we sold the packs of. So appreciate that. Thank him very much.
Nice. Well, that was part of the theme today. It was paying forward and giving it when you can. So is he there? Because we got black screen, but he might be there hiding in the lurking in the shadows.
Yo, what's up, fellas? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, sir.
Hey, what's going down?
Yep. Chilling.
Oh, nothing. Just enjoying this Seattle night. It's nice over here.
Fire free, I hope.
We don't see your face.
Are you?
No.
Okay.
You're in stealth mode?
Yeah, I don't.
Do you need a fake mustache or anything like that, or glasses with the big nose on it?
It's hard to compete when you have James next to you on the screen. It'd be hard to compete anyway. So
yeah, that's right. He's a good looking dude. What's going on, fellas?
Good. We're just chilling. James is just filling us in on the donation you made for Duke, which is awesome. It's good to see that we have that much, that many people out there ready to buy packs and help donate for obviously a good cause, because we want to get him out and keep his family fed and everybody fucking taken care of. And thanks a lot for doing that. That's awesome.
Yeah, man.
Heart of gold, man. That was a really nice gesture.
Yeah, I mean, I know what it's like to have family members down. My brother's in the feds right now, and I just know how it's affected our family, and he's part of the industry. James says so much good stuff about him, and I just thought it was the least I could do to help out. So,
yeah, that's awesome. And again, like, everybody who whatever you're good at doing, if you're good at growing weed, or you're good at making seeds, or you're good at anything in particular, so like just being able to donate your time or donate whatever your skill set is not a big deal. And our, like 100 packs of seeds is definitely, there's a lot of work behind it, but at the end of the day, like, you just kind of give those out anyway. And it's nice to have a nice focus thing like this, and you can really see like the reverse coming, people putting money down and not expecting free, because I mean, how much free seeds do you give away too, right? And we all do.
Oh, as much as I can, as much as my office will let me before they freak out and try to shut me down. I try to give away as much as I can, really. But this was a good cause, and if it helps his family or whatever, that's what it's all about. So.
Right, and it's nice to see the traction kind of quickly like that too. Whereas like you're saying before, when you're on the opposite side, when you're actually the person sitting, and you get like a outpouring from people, I'm sure it's so much more effective than just like trying to like do it yourself, because people have too much pride. You know what I mean? It's really hard to like put it out there like, hey, I need help. You know what I mean? But if you're in prison, you're already obviously need help. There's no doubt about it, right?
Oh,
every day, like there ain't no question. Ain't no question.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it with my own family, with my brother in there, and just how he's gone through things, and he gets down sometimes, just feels like he's all alone, and. The least thing I could do at least for my own brother is I keep him stocked up with those honey buns. I keep him good every month, and he'll be home in 2 years, and it sucks when you're in there. It sucks.
So my son stole my phone because James had already queued me up with all these insights, like, oh yeah, I got to ask him about this and ask him about that, and I'm like, great, now I've lost my cue cards there. But one of the strains was, what was it? I forget what he asked me to tell you. It was a Magna Opa, or what was it? What was a strain that it was?
The Don Mega or Don Mega.
The Don Mega.
Oh yeah,
exactly. That's what it was. The Don Mega lineup. Yeah, for sure. Can you fill us in a little bit of that? The
Don Mega has been a work that we've been working on for, I don't know, maybe 3 years now. It's years in the making, and it was our first award winner through High Times. It really took off in Michigan. People in Michigan loved it, and then we just worked that line. I made it originally, and I just didn't. In our test, it could have been more on my side of the testing. I think I blew out some of the bottoms with some herms and or just intersects. Maybe I was pressing them a little too hard, and so I pulled back on that. And then I just went back to the drawing board, reworked it, and tested it again. And I kind of, when we reworked it, I've kind of became passionate with like making, well, not even making, but just hash rosin altogether. So I've been passionate with it, and I was like, you know what? I think on this rework, everybody says that they're getting good returns with the Don Mega. Maybe the strains that we add to this, we're going to add some that are from guys that are washing, so we reached out to like the North Fire cookies, or the North Fire guys over in Maine. They have a North Fire cookie cut. We got their cut in and used it in this line. We reached out to Neff Solventless in Michigan, got their papaya cake, brought it in and used it in this line. So we could kind of do like a functional breeding program where we're trying to breed for things that are going to give hash makers good results. And so that remains to be seen. But as far as like our test, like we tested it, and it's one of the, I don't know, it was fun. It was fun to grow, and I was proud to release it, and we had a crazy response. Like we're out of a bunch of it already.
So James texted me, and so since I have a phone and Nick didn't steal mine, so he wanted to discuss that the latest drop of your gear went on pre-sale today at Seeds Here Now, that you have an amazing strawberry jelly, and the banana runts line is supposedly fire.
The chat gang is actually asking about the strawberry jelly, and he wanted you to talk about it. They wanted you to talk about it if you could.
Strawberry jelly away, sir.
Yeah, so strawberry jelly, this strain showed up on our doorstep because, I'm close with Mike. That's like my brother. We've been together, homies for years and years. So he got the strain from a guy at a cup named Pure Melts. And it's really the strawberry jelly is just a variant of Mimosa, but doesn't smell anything like oranges. Nothing at all. It's the fakest strawberry terps that you've ever smelled. And it finishes extremely early. So it's done like done at like 52. So it's
done?
Just Dunn. Grow it, and you'll see. Like this thing finishes extremely early, extremely frosty,
which is probably good for color too, right out of the gate. Because it doesn't have time to get dark, right? So it's nice and light.
Yeah, I mean, it can get a little bit colorful on the tips and stuff, but by no means is it like a plant that blacks out or anything like that.
No, I mean I'm talking about the trike colors, the trike state.
Oh, sure.
It's quick because it's not too fast or not too long.
Yeah, and it washes. Like these guys wash that thing all the time. So, so I was the first person he gave it to when he brought it back. We brought the cut back. He was like, "Grow this thing." I grew it out, and I was like, "Mike, this is a heater. Like this right here is a heater." And then he did his strawberry line with it, the strawberry cream, all that stuff. He grew it. It was like, "Oh yeah, we're on." So, and that's really what we put into the happy hour, which has done amazing. I mean, with the Dawn, so you get a different terp with that. It's not as gnarly of the strawberry side of it. You get more of a funky strawberry.
So all these sort of specific strains for washing and stuff, are they? Is it yield or is it terps or what's the most, or is it just kind of a combination of all the above, or is it like? Is there any?
Well, you know, when you talk to the guys that wash, they want to see. I'm a noob at washing. I built a washroom, and I've been just now washing things myself, so I can kind of give people an idea of what you're going to see. But when you talk to these guys, they like to do things that seem to like wash at 3.5% above. Seems like they want. So yield does matter if you're going to sit in there and do all that work. They want the yield there, but the terps are just as important. Like if it doesn't taste good or it's not loud right out of the jar, then there's really, I don't know, no point.
Well, I mean, the interesting thing, it's awesome that you get a chance to work with all these different people. That's all. Because the thing is, if you're doing repetitive work, like making bubble every day, all day, you really start to see where, you see where people are wasting their time. Like, especially like, you'd be like, dude, we got like half a gram or something per, this is not doing shit.
Work for 3 hours, man.
And the same flour would have actually sold on the shelf and done pretty well because it had and it was like, well, that was just a complete another disaster. But you also see the other side where you see like, oh man, this thing is not even that great of a plant, but all of a sudden, booyah, like it puts out just constant, dumps and dumps and dumps, and actually bubbles or has action all the way through. And so, I think it's awesome. It's like it's a pretty interesting. Because that's really, it is like the whole fucking adage of like, it all comes out in the wash. And with that, it really does. Because you'd be like, wow, the hidden gems that come out are awesome, because sometimes you'll get strains that you were just about to throw it away. And you're like, you know what? Let me just do a quick bubble run. And then you're like, holy shit, I'm keeping that.
Yeah.
Even though it's the ugliest plant I've ever seen, now I don't have to ever trim it again. I'll just make make hash out of it or whatever.
That's actually something that I've really learned is that, the plants that some of these guys are picking, some of these hash guys are picking are ugly as shit. And I would never I wouldn't be like, oh, that looks like something awesome. But some of them are super ugly, but they're getting great returns and great, terp things.
Yeah, but if that's the profiles. Goal, shit, who cares what it looks like?
No, exactly. And it's just from a guy like me, when I'm trying to breed things together, I'm looking for usually the most beautiful thing on the planet, the most frosty thing on the planet with the best smells and like just the best aesthetic and the best that I can find. And some of these things that make hash don't fit that box as far as that look. Like, so, it is what it is.
Well, that's what saved, but that's what's cool now is that we're actually getting into that point where people are like literally doing runs of entire plants. They're not taking, because the thing is when you get some plants and you're trimming them up and you get a lot of trim and it actually makes pretty good hash, then you all feel like, oh, it's sort of satisfying. I don't mind that the plant is super leafy and fucking a bitch because I know it's going to make good hash. But when it comes to like whole plant shit, it's like a whole other level of thinking, because you almost never sacrifice those beautiful buds of the past. But nowadays, some places you legally are not allowed to take flower out of the building. It has to come out in concentrate form. So you take all that shit, break that down, and then you start running the numbers because you have to. And at that point, you really figure out a whole bunch of interesting things. Like sometimes you get stuff that's like, it's puts out a lot of hash weight, let's say, but it doesn't have none of it's good. You know what I mean? All the way top to bottom, doesn't really have any action to it, but it's like dumper. But some people would, but as a plant, that's why it was so popular, because it just was dense and weighed a lot, you know?
I am mesmerized by the video of your garden running on the feed right now. That is, I mean, bravo. Wow.
So what's your method? Your methodology? Are you more of a cocoa or?
Me, no. So I grow in. I like to think of it as kind of like a style. You know, everybody has their own style, and just I grow the same. Like just Exotic and I grow the same way. We use Pro Mix, HP, and then we use House and Garden, and then a couple little additives. Like I use a little bit of Mammoth P. And that's really it for me. Like I don't do anything. I don't feel like I do anything too crazy. Those are the things that I use, and I just
we have to have some fish shit sent to you.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I'll give it a shot. I try anything. I was gonna try some power. Some of that power
science.
Yeah, I think I was gonna try some. I see a lot of good things about it.
Power science, good. Yeah, we definitely. I mean, silica is kind of mandatory in your regimen. I think if you want to have plants that actually, you know, can hold themselves up and not be too floppy, and I mean, they almost always seem like it's like how humans always need more vitamin D. Plants always need more silica. It seems like. I mean, I can almost go almost any garden and be like silica, and they'd be like, really? And I'd be like, I don't know, just probably. Like, it's just the way it is. Everything needs more, you know what I mean? Just people don't usually think about it enough, and that's like. But the crazy thing with that product is if you use it, you really got to put it in your water before you put everything else in, or else it just kind of falls out and doesn't really work.
So you want to drop any nuggets, Mike? You got any? You have any like something coming down the pipe? Some new strain? Some new genetics you want to release?
Look at you demanding nuggets out of our guests. I need a nugget now. I need a nugget now.
New? Anything somebody's going to go, holy shit? I never saw that from him before.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Stacks.
Yeah, I mean, well, we're going to do a Bahama Mama reverse, and we're in the middle of that now. We're working on that now. That's also a washer that came from our guys over in Maine, from Rugged Roots over there. And through our friend Jen Doe, another great hash maker. So yeah, it's like that plant right there is a little bit opposite of what we were talking about, which is it's absolutely beautiful and it washes. So we'll see how it does on the reverse, and we'll see how that comes out. But I have some crazy things planned in that. There's a couple collabs we're going to do in there with Exotic on that, and just really put it together. So yeah, I think that lineup is going to be awesome. I wouldn't expect to see it anytime soon. If you know me, I'm not dropping things every month. I'm not dropping things every couple months. You'll see that 6 to 8 months from now. Yeah, if you see it at all. Yeah,
you heard it here, everybody.
Yeah, so one thing James brought up, which I think I saw a lot of response online, so I mean, I think people are interested, was he was saying how he doesn't see enough credit going towards the males that people are running, and that the fact that, you know, every breeder, we share a lot of our elite cuts with each other, or, you know, people have used the same Josh D cut for 50 different crosses, right? But then when it comes to the males, we're all a little more selective and secret, and most people don't really pass around males. What's your style? Are you more like, do you have like steady ones you've used for multiple crosses, or do you kind of move ahead and work on that kind of like continuous forward motion, which some other people seem to be, especially with males, because a lot of people don't like keeping males around. You know?
I definitely do keep my males around, but I also like to reselect too. So it just really depends. I don't know about picturing male. I don't know if people really want to see males, James. I mean, we'll see. Like, I've had some that look amazing, but I've also had some that look real stupid. So like my black banana male way back in the day didn't look that cool, man, but it was a great male. So
Is that not the only thing that differentiates you guys, though?
No, it is. Your male selection is actually
that's the only thing.
Probably the most important thing. Like, it's that, and then like not just going and grabbing all the coolest cuts. Like working with your friends, working with guys you know, getting their selections. Not just going to the clone guy and picking up whatever bullshit that you can pick up, and instead just picking up like talking to your friends and talking to them about their selections. Why did you select this? What's tight about it? Let me see it growing. Like, yeah, you know.
Well, you know, the interesting part, because the medium that we're working in is like something that we can consume and get an effect off of. So like the reality is, if you know somebody and you know the flavor that they put, or like that, you know, whatever their weed always sort of seems to taste like, or it fits in a certain kind of category, you can pretty much tell like that's their point of reference, right? And then if you get, but you'll have other people who like, you'll smoke their weed and be like, this weed sucks. This is terrible. Like, and so you're like, this is what you think good weed tastes like? I don't know what you're fucking, you're on the wrong, some other thing. And it's just, but it is really very personal, you know? And I think a lot of the problems with the male selection is people don't share. So there's not really a lot of that, like, your version of my male and my version of, you know what I mean? You don't get a comparison ever. So you kind of just go down this path that's 50% of your alleles. So you're pretty much at that point devoting a lot of your final product at that point, you know, unless you're working S1s and that's your thing, you know. That's
the whole thing from the start to the finish is personal. So that's why before we put any seeds out, I'm the first one that's grown them. That way, if you know anything about me, I spend the first 4 to 5 hours a day in the DM answering questions, talking to people. I'll talk to you about whatever you want. You want to figure out your problems or how to grow shit better? Hit me up. I got you. We'll sit and we'll figure it out together. And that's why me growing it before you grow it, that's what's personal for me. So that when you're growing it, we can talk about it because we've both seen it now.
Sure.
So the whole thing is personal for me from the minute I make the seeds till I harvest them first and then they go into your hands. It's all personal for me.
Yeah, well, it's easier to track things, and it's a lot. It's also like when you talk to people who are actually doing something, whether it be, you know, like someone tells you about growing, but they've never really grown, compared to a guy who's flooded his reservoir 10 times and fucking did all sorts of stupid shit. And you start talking and you can tell right away, like, and you can also see the progression too. Like you might come back 6 months later and that guy is telling you information which is only known by being there. You know what I mean? Like it's stupid little things, but those little things are like, okay, so you're really on point. You're checking your VPD, or you're actually like, they're on the point of understanding their room better than you know, when you first met them and they're in there just flying blind and just hoping for the best.
I'll say the evolution of new growers nowadays. Like I said, I talk to them every day. I spend hours talking to them every day. They are so much better than when I started back in the day. Like these guys are picking it up quick. They're figuring things out. I don't know if it's because they got YouTube and internet and like resources, like being able to just talk to guys on Instagram or whatever. But
I think that is. I think that's the main reason.
I grew tomatoes for the first 3 years.
Yeah, I got these guys that are just like getting a pack of my seeds, rocking it out in a tent, sending me the pictures. I'm like, damn, bro, like how long have you been doing this? Oh man, I just started. I'm like, shit.
But that's a
they're
reality.
Also starting with
like,
better genetic material. Like they're starting with the fucking heaters out of the gate.
Right.
So
like
diverse genetic material.
You know, yeah. Well, the thing is, it's also like, you know, a lot of us were growing with seeds that were coming from, you know, plants that were never grown indoors in the first place. And, you know, we're putting them into conditions where, you know, we learned the hard way, but now when you hand somebody something that pretty much are giving them about a 90% chance of doing something good, as long as they don't fuck it up. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Which we know
I got to see the version of seeds here now back in 1985. It was my aunt and uncle living in Humboldt County taking me to like some backwoods, you know, air quote, general store post office where they knew on Tuesdays at 3:00, all the growers from around the area would come in and they would bring cuts. and they would just trade cuts.
Wouldn't you
just share the COVID with each other? Just share the bugs. Yeah, share the bugs, share the love, share the mold.
It was the
PM,
80s, James. Come on now. It's what they had.
Nobody was wrapping it up. Nobody was quarantining shit.
Listen to James. Always the seed salesman.
Damn, what a downer. Wah, wah, wah.
Debbie Downer. Debbie Downer.
You guys all got PM.
He heard cuts, and it was an instant turn off for him.
1985, Mr. Bean. 1985.
Exactly. Nobody was being safe back then. Okay, we know how many people died
yes,
back
they
then.
were. They carried 6-shooters.
Can be safe.
Malathion was rampant back then. Nobody cared. But it would be nice.
I miss that community feeling where you could go and exchange with guys like that.
It would be nice. Yeah, I was going to say it would be nice.
It wasn't a community feeling. It was like the high of not getting busted. Yeah, it was the high of not getting arrested. That's what it was.
Well, this is before camp and before all that shit, and or right when it was beginning, and it was just how they existed. There wasn't a cop in the area because the only road in was 50 miles away, and somebody would have, made a phone call. It was just the breeders in the area. This is how they diversified their genetics.
Yeah, let me give you all my cuts. That way you can grow the same shit I grow. So next year we'll have all the same weed.
I mean, isn't that the same thing that's going on with Runts?
Well, we're all passing that hoe around, yes.
Fine.
I mean, that thing's been tricked out more than anything. God,
those who live in glass houses, James Bean.
She slept with everybody, though. She slept with everybody. Everybody's doing a Runts cut.
Hey, to be fair, I was one of the first. I did banana Runts, and I got on out. I did
banana Runts.
Yeah. Yep, I did the banana Runts.
I haven't done a Runts.
I was just going to ask, Adam, have you done a Runts? You beat me to it.
Dude, why not?
No Runts.
I'll bring her over to you. You can bang her. Yeah.
No, she's a whore.
Hey, Adam, you should definitely grow the Runts cut. It's if you get the real cut, it's good.
Mark says no.
If you haven't grown it, it's good.
It's like Skittles. Grows really good.
That's right.
No, don't lie. Don't lie.
It's true.
Man. That's like
that's true.
You guys can't grow Skittles, right?
Your whole room Skittles. You should do your whole room Skittles and put them in really in 3-gallon pots and see what happens.
You guys just can't do it right. Whatever. You guys don't know.
Do it right. Come on.
Do it right. You're stressing out.
That's the hard part about that's the hard part though with hype strains is that once they get, it's just like music where if it gets too popular, then you're just like you're kind of turned off on the popularity, and you want to find your own like little emo strain. I need an emo strain that's.
Yeah, I want this downer James Bean to go away and come back with the guy who was doing lines earlier. Maybe he'll come back and make us laugh. Come on, James Bean. No downer.
Yeah, somebody stole my phone.
I wonder what the next hype is coming around the corner. Maybe it's
Pluto. Is it Pluto?
It's going to be called Snickers.
It's funny because we were all predicting haze because of Neville passing and all that, but then the reality is hazes are so hard to grow properly.
Yeah,
very rarely, like
12 weeks.
90% plus 90% are usually shit. Like when you're grown from seed because they're really hard to get the one. Like even from Dave, like straight out of Dave's mouth, it was like, oh yeah, 90% crap. Like I'm like, great, you know what I mean? So you really have to weed through so much to find the one.
Pun intended.
And you waited 14 weeks to do it, and then you're like, are you kidding me? 14? All right, that's it. I'm done. So I have a feeling that nobody's come out with anything new in that haze department that I've seen that I've been like, wow.
Nah, that's not going to happen. Yeah, haze.
That was last year.
That's not going to happen.
No.
I mean, a lot of
people are on that sweet candy terps. They want that sweetness when they dab it. They want to taste good. Like I said, I like those old Thailand strains that are nasty, but nobody wants to taste that dead body smell.
I'll be real. A lot of people ask me about gas. Like gassy strains are still popular.
Cat piss?
So.
Yeah, no, gas is for sure big.
Yeah.
Did you get your phone back, Adam?
No, I didn't get my phone back. Come on, get out of there, mister. Jeez Louise. This kid, you think he wants to be a podcaster all of a sudden.
Did you see what I sent you?
Soulfire, Soulfire, what new strains are you smoking on that aren't yours, that you're liking? That's not yours and not exotics.
Oh, I don't smoke anything that's not. I don't smoke anything that's not mine or exotics.
Great answer. That's a great answer.
Yeah, no, I mean that's my homeboy. So I just if I'm actually lately I haven't really been smoking any flower. It's just been hash rosin, and then like I've been making it lately, and I made some fire right out of the gate. I'm so lucky to have these guys around me, like Mike, who's done it for years, and Yeti Stash over in Michigan, and Neffs, and all these guys that I've been able to just tap in with them and ask them so many questions about shit, and them just open up to me and just give me so much knowledge on how to do it. I really felt like I got a jump start on washing, and I would have never been able to do this like as well without them.
Mike, it's what you said right there.
I'm Lonnie. I'm Lonnie.
Sorry.
No, don't say your name. Oh, no.
No, sorry. Soulfire. It's what you said earlier about why new growers have taken it to the next level. It's because you guys can collaborate right now. And there was no way of sharing things. 11 years ago, when some of the first conferences started in Denver and people would show up, they'd say it was a cannabis convention. People didn't want to wear name tags and say who they were. So they were still in the closet, thinking it was illegal. And it's that, exponential growth. It's gotten to the point where there's so many sources of information out there, so many places to collaborate with someone, you just listed like the kings of hash making, and you have access to them on your Rolodex. That information is out there. So that's what's making everybody just that much better than the season before. I can't wait to see what comes next. I want to try it.
That I think that breeders having a bigger pool to choose from is also huge. I think that now they have the ability to run larger numbers. They're gonna pick better things. I mean, we talk about the guys who did it back in the day. They were using maybe 2 tenths if they were lucky, 3 tenths, and they were using limited numbers, limited selection to do their pheno hunting with, and still come out with some great shit. But now when guys are doing 100 or 1,000 or 500, you're gonna find some outliers that are pretty cool. So.
Yeah, for sure. I've seen that too.
It's definitely interesting times. It's great times for genetics in general, just because finally people are also figured out, just like James, that clones, you can only grow the same plant to a certain degree better than each other. There's not much you can go. You're splitting hairs at a certain point. You're talking like, of course, if you grow it organically, you'll have a little more flavor than if you're growing it on hydro. But then, of course, hydro guys can nail it on cocoa and get pretty damn close to the point where you're like, hey, is it really? It's just you're at that point. It's who can grow it cheaper, because the more inputs you put in, obviously, then it costs more per pound, right? And now you're
race to the bottom.
Yeah, and everybody's like, especially when you like back in the day, the biggest problem was if one guy supplied clones to say 6 growers, and they all started at the exact same day. They all pretty much harvested on the same day, and they all came to market on the same fucking day. Then, like, the little window of opportunity just got crushed because there's like way too much of that same strain out there because the guy sold 1,000 cuts of it, and now there's literally almost 1,000 pounds grown around town. You know what I mean? So you're like, there's
$35 ounces, $35 ounces
of the same.
Oh, James.
What happens is everybody fucking throws Blue Dream. You all get $35 ounces.
Yeah,
or Gorilla Glue, back in the day. That was
right.
That was another
one.
Also
pretty.
That's another strains that were
like Runts. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's gonna happen with Runts. Everybody's gonna have it for sure. Sure.
So, James, glad we got the seeds. Well, we have the seeds here now, background there. We didn't get a chance to really hype up your specials and stuff, so might as well just run through them and somehow incorporate Soulfire in the conversation.
I want to hear the specials. I've been buying a lot of seeds lately myself.
We need a double done deal. Come on, James. Double done.
James, do it. Double done.
Do it. Double duns. We can figure out something, but.
One day.
Let me go to this.
How about you get 20% more seeds?
Don't confuse him, James. Just let him roll.
Shit. So we've got exotic packs for 124 that were 148. They got them now 124. Reminds me, Exotic has a new drop coming on the 20th of his rainbow line. That'll be pretty big. Get those. Sign up for our email list while you can. That's the only way that's a good way to know when they're going to be able to buy them. I'm not saying you can buy them earlier, but maybe you can buy them earlier. So stay tuned to our email list.
Classic James.
Hey, you sign up with the email list. You know what I mean? You get a link. Obsolete Genetics, 25% off most strains. Free shipping and handling over $300. International orders free over $500. So from over $300 gift cards, you get a free THC pack of French macaroon.
The question whether the president is going to get 30,000 votes.
Somebody's got their news on pretty loud.
My bad. I had to rent in the house for some cheesecake.
Oh, there is no bad when cheesecake is involved.
Oh man, her cheesecake bites too. Fucking amazing.
You know, go ahead, keep going, James.
So Utopia Farms 20% off the Holy Banana. Exotic Runts line, buy one pack and get the Runts S1, one max per gift. The Red Pop line comes with a free pack of Artificial Red, no limit. Crockett Family Farms, buy 2 packs, get a free 6-pack of Fims. Second Gen, get a pack of Einstein's Pipe, get a free Crown Royal or Strawberry Recess. Got Coastal, buy 2 packs, Trichrome Jungle, who was on the show last week. We got his Fims in, just released last week, or just released Thursday. Envy Genetics, we're now restocking him. Buy a full line, get any pack, get a 6-pack of Chelofona. Canado's got to buy one, get one. Sin City's got to buy one. Envy's got another buy one. So all kinds of stuff listed at the website. I just hooked up with, I'll be adding Heroes of the Farm to the website here shortly. I talked with Phil, really good guy. His strain 8541 fucking blew me away. I got it from a dispensary and I had to find the guy and call him up. I was like, okay, let's talk about this strain because it was really fucking that good. And come to find out, he's an old TGA breeder. Was one of their guys, has stories from that, but just really good dude. So looking forward to that. And then I'll be adding Lemon Hoko in the next couple of weeks as well.
Nice.
Soulfire, you probably know Lemon.
Yeah, he's a local guy. Master Splinter over there.
Master Splinter, exactly. Really good dude.
That's right.
Master Splinter, I love that name.
So they call him Master Splinter. So he had a hand in teaching, so to say, Exotic, Kaya at Pacific Northwest Roots, and Thunder Fudge, Chocolate Thunder. And so they all kind of they were like the Ninja Turtles. They all kind of called him Master Splinter because he was like the teacher. But really good dude. He's also credited with the Berry White strain, which I'll be having about 10 packs in next week, as well as his 7th generation blueberry, which is pretty awesome. So look for those coming up, and that's what we got. Oh, Black Friday sale coming up, and then
is there Black Friday?
Black Friday.
Yeah, we're coming up in 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
And how about you, Soulfire? Do you have an Instagram page for anyone to get in touch with you there?
Yep. Soulfire Gardens 2019. That's me. You can just hit me there anytime or soulfiregardens.com.
Back when life was simple.
Yeah.
2019, when no one knew nothing.
I don't know why. I don't know why I chose that. I had gotten banned at 50K and 30K. So I didn't have any good names, and it was 2019, so I said fuck it, 2019.
Right. Well, it's still now it's actually maybe reminiscent. It's like a pre 9/11 situation, right?
Tell me about it.
Is it pre-COVID or post-COVID?
I'm waiting for I'm waiting for COVID to go away. I'm missing the events, man. I'm missing being out there, a lot.
Aren't we all?
Oh, you and me both.
Yeah. Even though it's funny because when we were going to those events, we were all just tired and oh my God, events.
Fuck them down.
Wouldn't it be nice if there was no events? And now there's no events, and we're like, man, wouldn't it be great if there was events? So.
Yeah, I was gonna hop on the plane,
standing in line and talking to the person next to you.
Oh, dude, I miss it. I do.
Remember those days when you could just stand and talk to somebody? Whoa.
Getting on a plane.
Those were the days. Well, cool. We got to wind her up because we've hit the time mark. Mark gets more and more agitated as the minutes go by. So it's like
he looks angry right now.
Angry. He's got the new haircut. It makes him look extra angry.
No, man, I'm at home. I'm good.
He's taking like 9 bong hits.
I appreciate you guys.
I'm assuming. Yeah, for sure. So, for sure. Nice awesome having you on. And once again, thanks for helping Duke out. That was awesome.
Yeah, James, that's just some stellar humanity right there. And Soulfire, you guys putting that together for Duke.
Soulfire called me up and wanted to do it. He was like, "Hey, I want to do this," and I was like, "Okay, so you want me to do?" He's like, "Just match it." I was like, "Hey, no problem." So it's pretty cool. It's a pretty good donation. He definitely, Duke says thanks, by the way. His wife, I sent to them Thursday. So.
Yep, it was my pleasure, man. Right. It was my pleasure. All right, fellas. Well, enjoy your evening.
Of course, right now, you guys know you can go to my website and get all of Soulfire's latest drops just happened today. The Orange Cannoli, the Papa Don, Mega Runs, Happy Hour, the Boss Gotti, and the Don Dada. Pick all those up at the website now, under $100. And that's all I got.
Yeah, the Don Dadas and the Megas are gone. So if you can get them from Seeds Here Now, get them, because I don't got any more. They're gone.
We'll have to do a Dunn Mega collab, I think. Yeah, I might have to happen.
Only have Megas.
Mega Dunn. A Dunn Mega?
Dunn Mega Dunn? I don't know. Well, come on.
Let's do it. The Mega Duns? Mega Dunn?
Mega Dunn. The Mega Dunn. The Mega Dunn. The Mega Dunn. That's what I'm saying.
I like it.
Now you get it. All right, man. Thanks for coming through. Thanks, James, for the news. Yeah, for sure.
I didn't do the news. It wasn't me.
Wasn't him?
But thanks for organizing that awesome guy, because he's so cool. That guy's way cool. He's so much.
He did a bunch of
blow
cooler
on
the show, though.
I know.
Is that what this is?
You got to tell him to slow down. You need to tell him to slow down on that shit.
He's an Oregon. He just passed a law, so they're fucking going.
No heart attack. It's all legal. Shout out to all the states that went legal and decrimmed and did all sorts of cool shit. And psychedelics are opening up. And fucking times are changing.
The times they are changing.
Shout out to MTI for making it all happen.
You rock, brother.
Nice haircut. Shout out
Rosin
to
Dogs, Elka, Mike Denver, Chat Gang,
whole crew.
You guys.
And I think next week I will officially be home again, so I'll be back to Colorado.
Okay,
and
I'll believe it when I see it.
Right. Shout out to my beautiful wife, Cece, and little Nick, who
stole your phone.
Can't wait to steal more electronics from me, basically. Right.
Thanks, Peter, for coming on the show. It's great chatting.
Thanks, Chaz, for checking in from Amsterdam. We'll see you guys next week. I don't know. You have any plans? Do you have any secrets, things coming up? Do you know anything? Nothing. No one knows anything. That's the secret of the whole thing.
Secret. You know what tomorrow will be?
What's that?
246 days. Okay, so that's that I'm just counting the days, man.
Is that what you do?
The only day of the week I know is Friday. That's it. That's it.
It's only one day you need to know. That's Fridays here on the show. All right, peace out, everybody. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks again.
Peace.
Practically every one of the top 40 records being played on every radio station in the United States is a communication to the children to take a trip, to cop out, to groove. The psychedelic jackets on the record albums have their own hidden.
This is a special question. We don't want you to smoke genetically modified ganja. We want you to smoke the real thing. We want you to smoke the natural herb. Some call it marijuana, some call it sensimedia, some call it lamb's bread, and some people call it ganja.